Hey everybody, welcome back to Terps Esports. Live from College Park, my name is Lily.
And my name is Bree. It's a nice and warm Thursday night here at the University of Maryland, and we're back for another Valorant match with the one and only Terps Co-ed Academy team. Tonight, the Terps will be taking on NYU Violet Rangers.
Tonight's game will be a regular season best of 3 as part of the play versus season. We are at the end of Academy Week here in studio, where we have had the pleasure of showcasing all of our Academy titles on stream this week. Hopefully, Terps VAL will give us a great ending to this really fun week. But before we jump into the game, we'll introduce you to the members of the team, as well as looking at their stats, and even get a chance to chat with the team's flex player, Jalzera.
Before we jump into the game, let's start with your typical rules of a Valorant match. If you've never played the game before, Valorant is an objective FPS-based game where teams of 5 players compete in 2 12-round cycles against each other. The main objectives of the game are to plant the spike, defend the spike, manage economies, and create strategic plans to outsmart your opponent and take the win.
Tonight, like Bree mentioned, the Terps are going up against NYU. Academy has been on fire this semester with a record of 5-1, so tonight will give us a good opportunity to see what all the hype's about. NYU, on the other hand, has a record of 4-2, so they're hungry for a win here to help out their record. But without any further ado, let's get right into those stats.
Exactly, Lily. NYU is hungry for the win. But speaking of hungry, I'm also hungry, so let's dig in by introducing you to the first member of the team, Carrots. Carrots is the team's initiator. She is all about creating opportunities and setting up for the team. Whether she's using her abilities to gather information, disrupt enemies, or set up for aggressive pushes, she's the one always making sure that the Terps are always one step ahead. She's got an ACS of 223, an ADR of 146, and a KD of 1.54.
Next up is Void as the team's controller. He's got an ACS of 199, which is actually the highest of his team, an ADR of 133, and a KD of 1.04. He has been a part of the CAD team for a couple semesters now, so I'm really excited to see his strategy when it comes to the placement and timing of his smokes to help out with his team. But clearly, with an ACS like that, placing smokes is not the only thing he's been doing. He's been able to rack up those frags as well to help his team in any way possible.
Next up is Peaches as the team's sentinel, meaning that he's the group's defensive expert. His role is to keep an eye on the other team's movement and use his utility to make the team aware of any sneaky flanks. He's coming in with an ACS of 207, an ADR of 138, and a KD of 1.13.
As our duelist, we have Swirls. He's got an ACS of 225, an ADR of 143, and a KD of 1.21. Swirls is also a seasoned veteran of Terps VAL, and he is playing a crucial role for his team as the duelist. We should definitely expect to see some clean aim from him tonight.
Last but not least, we have Jalzera as the flex player for our Valorant team tonight. He is a highly versatile player who will adapt to the team's needs and switch to different agents and roles as needed. This is also his second semester being on our academy team, so meaning that he's able to quickly adapt says a lot. So he's coming into this match with an ACS of 239, an ADR of 151, and a KD of 1.44. Everyone, welcome to the studio, Jalzera! Hello!
What's up?
Welcome back into the studio.
Thank you.
So you were the newest addition to our Academy Co-ed team last semester, and this semester is now your second. So if you don't mind, could you introduce yourself to the viewers, say your name, major, year, and your favorite agent?
Okay. What's up, guys? I'm Joseph. My major is journalism. I'm a junior. And my favorite agent's probably Viper. Viper's too nice.
So you're a journalism major, so you're always in
And
the
Night
field
Hall.
where- Yeah, you're always here,
I'm
huh?
I'm around.
Is this your first time in the studio? I don't think this is your first time.
Nah, second time. First time was last semester for
Yeah.
grand finals.
I remember that.
That was
Awesome.
too fun.
So it's so nice to meet you, and I want to know if we could get some Jalzera lore. Like, could you
Ooh.
tell us like your Valorant timeline? How did your love for the game come to be, and what made you decide to become a player for our team?
Sure. Okay, so I think Valorant came out in 2020.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, I used to play Fortnite before Valorant, and one of my favorite players, whoa, what was that?
My bad.
Okay.
No. Go ahead.
One of my favorite players is Twyfo, and he swapped over to Valorant after Fortnite kind of didn't run tournaments that great. And so on Valorant, I was like, all right, I'm swapping too. And like overtime, I was like, wow, this game's kind of fun. Competition's like crazy. I gotta get in this.
Awesome. So you didn't think of trying out for our Fortnite team last year or
Whoa,
anything?
whoa, whoa. Y'all had that?
We had that last year, yeah, but
Oh.
not anymore. But it's fine. You're like you're here. Like you made it for real, you know?
I guess. We'll see.
Yeah, but so last but not least, let's change it up a little bit.
Mhm.
What is your Valorant hot take or Valorant ick?
All right. I got this. Okay, so Valorant hot take.
Mm-hmm.
I think in ranked, you can run Viper on every map. If you say that to like the wrong people, man, they will like shove you in a locker. But I think Viper on every map is doable if you duo with someone that is like a smokes player. Like we got Void. Get me duoing with Void, I'll run Viper all day. Win every game.
So you have lineups for like every map,
Whoa,
both
whoa,
like.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, okay, okay.
Don't got all that.
Okay, I guess. But anyways, thank you so much, Jauzera,
Sure.
and thank you everyone for tuning into our pre-show. We are going to take a little break right before we get into the game, so hang tight and don't miss the action.
Hi, my name is Teddy Zielkowski. I am a 2022 graduate at the University of Maryland with a degree of Bachelor's of Landscape Architecture, and right now I am a Terps Rocket League coach. Yeah, I think one of the biggest factors of why they invited me to be the coach for the Rocket League team was that I played a lot, and I was actually like the Rocket League president of the club. I played for the collegiate team before Terps Esports was a program. So I was a huge person in this community for Rocket League. So they really wanted someone who was kind of like a cornerstone that built this community to come back and be the coach. The most important thing about my role would be just getting to know all the different players on the team. Everyone has different lifestyles, they have different play styles, so you really gotta just get to know every single person so that you can help kind of connect them all together so they can play well on and off the pitch. My favorite part would just be seeing their improvements throughout the entire season. I mean, you start out and everyone's a bit awkward, everyone's kind of shy as well, and I think by the end of the season, like now, we play together, everyone kind of jokes around a little bit more and kind of shines their natural ray, so it's really fun just seeing, and they're also just getting better at the game too, so we're excited just to see them play better as well. I like the program, I like the direction it's going. There's obviously so much more work to do and figuring everything out, but I really like the direction we're going, and I think just the more time that we're working to grow the program, the more we're going to learn how to just be better at the program. I think one of the things that I really want to keep improving upon for like Terps Esports is just building a bigger community for all the games. So the Rocket League community has a really big community over in the club side. So it was really nice to see more people just like bonding together. People are just, instead of just seeing as like practices as being like a forced mandatory thing, people are like reaching out to each other and like they really want to play proactively with each other, and they're becoming friends as well. So it's not even like a team and we're just teammates and that's it, but it's more like we're staying up till like 2, 3 a.m. playing because we're having fun playing, and that's also helping them get better as well. So it like increases their like chemistry together and like just playing together as well, and they can handle losses better when they're a team and they're friends. So that's like a really good part about just building this community. I think one of the biggest things is just creating like a welcoming space for like beginners, and just like having it just be really welcoming, all skill levels included. That's something that we can try and do, and just create more diversity in the esports scene, just have more opportunities for other people to come, and maybe they're prodigies at a certain game or something. So when more people are playing the game and just creating more noise, then it's awesome for more people to just keep coming. It's almost like a trend.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're gonna jump right into the action shortly, and we actually do have our map selections.
We have a Pearl, a Bind, and a Haven. I think that's the order we're going in. I don't know how I feel about Pearl. I don't know.
I agree. See, Pearl is typically not a map that I like to play on. I know a lot of teams can kind of struggle with the long range fights that are present on B site. And then A can be a really difficult site to play post plant sometimes because there's a lot of ways that the defense can come flooding back in for like a retake. So I know that, you know, it's a little bit hit or miss, but clearly it was either chosen or not banned for a reason by the Terps.
So I don't know, because I've seen our other teams play on Pearl, and it's always something new. I guess you could say you can kind of see like where our strengths kind of land and where our misses kind of hit. I know B, like you said, is like so hard to like push onto. It's such a long range like site to be walking into, and there's just so many things you have to clear right when you get on to B anyways. So you have to have that strong push onto that site to begin with, or you could just hope that you're defending for the first time. But I do think that Bind and Haven are like smooth sailing. I feel like those are some reoccurring maps that our Terps are able to just smoothly take over. Yeah,
particularly Bind. I overheard the team kind of talking about how they've been working on Bind specifically, particularly working on things such as their scaling and how they are not over rotating, how they're supporting pushes on the attack, stuff like that. So with those skills practiced on Bind, I would expect that to be a very exciting map to watch, and we will definitely get to see it for a map 2. But nonetheless, it's really exciting to have Academy in the studio. Like we mentioned in the pre-show, we have gotten the opportunity to have all of our Academy titles in the studio this week, which is a really cool opportunity because typically we like to stream like our premier teams, and they're in here week after week after week.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to see like new faces up in the studio, and they're really excited to be here too. They don't get to come to the studio too often, so they're really hyped to be here as well.
Yeah, and I'm super excited for them. And I didn't even realize this was Josera's second time being in the studio. I think I casted just one game last semester of Academy being here. So it's good to know that, get to see some familiar faces yet again back in the studio. And, he's going to be playing Viper tonight. I can feel it. He was saying a lot about Viper today that, I think we're going to see some Viper on Pearl and, possibly on Bind. And I don't think that's an out of the ordinary pick on those two maps, I would say.
Yeah, those are two maps that he would certainly be comfortable if he so chooses to play Viper. And I'm also really stoked to see Void's performance tonight. He has been a part of this team for a very long time, and for good reason. He has the highest ACS, like we mentioned, and that means that he is not only using his controller utility effectively, but he is also netting kills. So I'm excited to see exactly how he's able to kind of combine those two worlds of play of, making sure to help your team out with that utility, because we all know what it's like to get on a team and you don't have a good smokes player and you just feel completely just naked on site because you can just get attacked from every which way. So it's going to be really good to see some high level controller play here tonight.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that Josera kind of has, Void to kind of hang on to. Like he mentioned earlier in our interview that's kind of like his go-to. Like obviously if Void's on that smokes, he's also going to go on Viper like he said as well. And it's good to know that they kind of have that connection. I mean, like a veteran and like not necessarily a newbie, but somebody who's new on the team. It's nice to know that he's being able to adapt to the team just as well, especially as a flex player. I feel like that takes a lot to be, in that position and not really, kind of just not necessarily be forced, but you have to have that skill of being able to bounce around for your team. And it takes a lot.
And this is a really great week here to start out coming off of the spring break. So teams play versus still continues over spring break since schools have spring breaks at different times. So all of our titles did compete last week, but obviously we were not in studio. So it's really, really great to, get back in studio after spring break. Both of our Valorant teams have really great records. 5-1 for Academy, and Premier, I believe, has only lost one of their games this season.
Yeah.
And we are in week 7 of competition. So they also have an insane record. So both of these teams have a lot to play for round after round. I know we've shouted out Premier a lot for up until the week before spring break. They haven't dropped a single map, which is a tall task. But Academy also looks like they deserve the respect that we've been giving Premier here in the studio. So let's see how, the cards unfold here.
Especially for tonight. And looking at our picks already, we're already in the game. We have some interesting picks here. NYU running both a Phoenix and a Neon for their duelists tonight. A KJ Fade and an Astra following after. Lord, double duelist on Pearl says a lot. Terps are running Astra, Neon, and I believe there was a Chamber there. I want to say Chamber is going to be Carrots. Is that?
Yeah, I would expect that to be Carrots' pick. She is a tried and true Chamber main, and she has been for years now. And Carrots is another great player to highlight because she has been a member of Terps Esports for a very long time as well, playing on our GC teams.
Yep.
But now here she is on Co-ed Academy, and she is definitely representing GC well. She is an amazing player. Her just mechanics are so consistent, especially on Chamber with that basically pocket guardian in his utility kit. I'm really excited to see Carrots put on a show for us tonight.
Yeah, I'm just still going on about the two duelists so far. Back to Carrots. Look at that crazy KD 1.5 there. And it's really nice to see Carrots back in the studio. I know we no longer have our GC team, but that does not mean Carrots is out for greatness. She's doing such an amazing job, and I believe she was originally subbing for our Academy team, so hopefully she can potentially get a solid spot here on this team. I feel like she does so well with any team that she's playing in, and it would be just so nice to see her back in studio just doing what she does best.
And we're happy to have her back in studio. It has been a minute, and this is the first time, we've had people now have Academy in the studio this semester. So, the times that we get Academy in here are kind of far and few between. So we're always happy to have them back in here. And don't worry, we are not missing any of the action of the game as well. We're in a tech pause, actually. So starting this one off with a little bit of difficulties. Hopefully they don't persist, though.
Yeah, and then it's just smooth sailing after that. But either way, talk about that overlay. Did you guys see those last few streams with our new overlay?
See, we're working on it. It has been a work in progress, and we appreciate if you guys have tuned in for the last couple streams. We are working out all of the kinks of getting this new overlay up and running. But once it is up and running, it'll be so worth it. It's going to look so cool. It's going to look like VCT, and it might just be up and running tonight, guys. So that's really exciting.
Exactly. You guys are watching VCT right now, actually. If you guys didn't know that, just saying, because the way we're going to play it tonight, VCT, basically. But yeah, I don't know. What more is there to say about this game tonight? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just not, maybe it's my personal trauma with Pearl. Like, I have a bone to pick with Pearl. Pearl, ever since it got released, cannot stand the map at all. The only thing I like about that map is the little crab in sewers. Have you seen it?
Yes.
He kind of just goes in the little vent and pops out every now and then. And the little comic book shop. in, I think it's what, defender side spawn? Yeah. That's the only two things that I like about Pearl. Every time I've played, my win to lose rate is probably like the worst like thing ever. So I need to see how it's really done tonight.
See, I enjoy the music on Pearl.
True.
For the radio shop, there's this really beautiful song sung in Portuguese. It's wonderful. It's downloadable on iTunes, guys.
Is it
It's
actually?
really good. It's like this full song. So it's actually amazing. The singer has this beautiful voice, guys. It's great. There's also other Valorant songs that are pretty good, as much as I don't like to admit it.
Can we talk about the one on Breeze that used to play?
Yes.
I don't remember. I
Yes.
don't know what that's called.
It's just the song where you initially get into a
Yeah,
lobby,
yeah.
but it had like steel drums. Oh my goodness. I hope that's still a feature of Breeze. I'm not sure because they actually reworked Breeze. Speaking of Breeze, it's now in the competitive pool again. But all the teams that we've had in studio seem to be avoiding it like the plague still.
Yeah.
So
Rightfully so.
yeah. So I don't know if we'll get to see it anytime soon
Most
in
definitely.
studio.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
I mean, I don't know. I've seen the reworks. I've seen it. A main nasty. I mean, I get it. Like it's open now, but like I just can't. Like B is too open. Well, B is nice. B is very nice and open. Mid is now like much shorter, but I just can't fathom the thought of playing Breeze changed up like this.
Well, we'll have to see it to believe it. But before we get into the game, let's just watch a really quick team intro.
They actually think they can plant the spike.
Nobody escaped you, but they tried.
What did I say? Don't mess with me.
Today is not our day to die.
I'll fight anybody. I'll fight everybody.
All right, so that was our lovely Premier team who is currently, as we speak, battling it out in their own play versus game. Hopefully, we get word that that was a W for them. But
Hopefully.
here we are in our Academy match, and we are right into the action here on Pearl.
Already starting off on B long. B is just not that site you want to be on, but doesn't seem like it's that much of an issue for our Terps here, as NYU is already just keeping quiet. It's kind of just a waiting game. We're kind of waiting to see how NYU is going to decide to take on going through mid here, especially through mid doors. And knowing how, tight mid doors is, it's just, I'm kind of scared here just a little bit, as unfortunately Void does get picked off by that KJ as they start making their way up onto B main here, but not to fear. It's actually going to be Peaches on Chamber tonight. And it's already, Terps are falling like flies already so far into this game.
Spike planted.
They found themselves completely off site, and now they have to really work to get back on this site that is theirs to defuse this bomb.
Enemy remaining.
Already getting those picks there. Carrots finishing it off for the team for the first round win of tonight. Look at her just nonchalantly just cheesing there. She did such an amazing job, and so did the rest of our Terps, but started off a little shoddy, just a little, a little interesting, but that says a lot for how NYU is going to perform tonight, because like we said, they are hungry, so they did not come to play tonight. And now we finally get to look at this crazy UI we have with our game. Like, look at how beautiful it is. We get to see our players, their gamer tags, and who they're playing, and their loadouts, and their economies. Same with the other team. It looks amazing.
Yeah, this is great. Huge thank you to Void, who is playing tonight, but has, throughout the last couple of weeks, had a really big role in helping this get up and running. So big shout out to him as the Terps are heading into their next round after a win.
Already heading into mid here. It's going to be a little bit of a mid split push. Carrots hanging on to this nasty angle. Hopefully gets one pick on that Neon and just retreats back now NYU knows that there's somebody here waiting, and they most definitely know about Jauzero's wall sitting here too. But that doesn't stop NYU kind of inching forward to get as much information as they can as they slowly start flooding onto these angles, already taking as much damage, getting half of it taken off of their health so far, and it's still quiet. They're kind of just playing peekaboo right now with one another. It's two monkeys, like monkey see what monkey do kind of situation here. We're very cautious tonight.
And the Terps have historically held this high line up in mid. It does not quite work out for them this time, though, with Jauzera actually finding 2 picks. And actually, I take that back. The Terps come away with a round win there, despite it looking a little bit shaky early on.
Cheesing there from Jauzera. I really like Carrot's melee. That is so
really cool.
Cute. No, that's awesome. Here, let's get a little bit of a replay here. Look at how amazing. Carrot's just one-shots this Neon like it's nothing and walks back like it was nothing. So amazing. Already 2-0 on the board here. Carrot's leading the leaderboard along with Jauzera. 3 kills on the board. And it's just, I don't know. It's too early to tell how this playstyle will end up being, but I just know for a fact that both teams are playing smart and they're playing slow. They're kind of playing contact almost here. Peaches is going to go ahead and tell the rest of his team that NYU is just running onto this site. Neon already dashing in. Peaches gets killed off by that Astra, but does get traded off by Swirls at the same time, leaving the Terps 3 against 5 against NYU. So far, the Terps are taking so much damage in the process. Jauzera slowly losing his life as well, and there's not much to do at all. I mean, the Terps don't have that much money to buy. Carrot's only a sheriff and a dream, and I don't think NYU's gonna swing out too far to know that she's just hanging out on that box.
Yeah, she's trying to be just as quiet as possible. Like you said, 5 HP to work with. Likely not going to be a round win here. Just trying to get any exit picks, help out the Terps economy any way possible.
And unfortunately, Carrots does get picked off. There's not much to do in this situation. They're just going to end up having to play exits, and I think might just have to save as well, giving NYU that first round. And we're already saving on our 3rd round, so I don't think our economy is going to be too high now, would it?
And just kind of getting the MO of the last couple of rounds, it seems like the Terps are really set on playing this aggressive line into mid and holding a really deep line on sites. So we saw that pay off positively in round 2, where Jauzera is actually able to get a couple of judge picks into mid with that deep line and really punish NYU for not checking those corners. But in the previous round, we kind of saw that in a fault where we hold this deep line and suddenly we can't keep ourselves happy on site. We give it up too quickly and then force ourselves in a retake.
Exactly, but this time NYU switching it up just a little bit, kind of doing a bit of a default here, going on to each and every site. But again, we're just waiting for movement as well. But it's a little expected how the Terps are setting up so far. I mean, we're going to get hit here, but Jauzera loses his life in the process trying to defend that A main. That A main, but unfortunately, 2 of NYU's players are going to go ahead and tell their players that there's only one. They're going to retreat back. It's kind of, I didn't think that they would do a full rotate onto B considering how big of a map Pearl is.
And look at this default that NYU is putting up right now. They're kind of making themselves known on each and every site to try and draw some Terps out of position. Will it work for Peaches though?
This is the biggest question. Hopefully Peaches can go ahead and just retreat back into mid. Hopefully his team is able to rotate out fast as NYU is starting to clear their corners and plant that spike. And it looks like it's just going to have to be a retake on the Terps end here, because that's the safest option that you can do, because if any of them peek right now, especially with this Astra Wall, it would give us a big disadvantage. Again, Peaches losing his life. Unfortunately, Swirl's getting a trade, but Swirls does lose his life as well, leaving just Void to save the day. But unfortunately, the Terps were not able to take it home for us.
And that time, the Terps kind of attempted to do something a little bit different, show aggression outside A main. As soon as they lost Jowzera, though, it kind of slowed the Terps down and made them be really careful about not giving up any 1v1s, being already a numbers down situation. And they, I think, quickly realized that this was a default from NYU, which is not something that NYU has done so far. Clearly, it worked out for them. So that is something the Terps have to consider moving forward in the future of could this default potentially, hurt us in the same way that it did this last round.
And it looks like they're doing that default yet again, but the Terps are just so pushed up onto A main that I think their best bet is to kind of just, they're trying to bait NYU out as much as they can, but I don't think NYU is following that, especially since this is both of their duelists that they're talking about on A main here. That's where the most action is happening.
And mid is completely neglected right now. Watch out for NYU's positioning towards mid if they choose to scale away from this A site.
And it's just slow and steady so far. Gonna throw a Fade Eye to see if we can catch any of the Terps. It's clearly the eye was thrown, so we're just peekaboo right now, just trying to bait one another out as the rest of NYU's kind of favoring more towards B.
And look at that KJ. That KJ might catch so many of the Terps off guard here later in the round.
And hopefully does not do so. The rest of the Terps are rotating in through their defender's side, but the Terps already know that there are two people hanging on to B. One of them already ulted, and it's just a 2v2. Hopefully we're able to get both of these players out, and we successfully do so, but no spike has been planted as they're starting to go onto A main, leaving just Peaches alone on A main. So let's see if he kind of trigger disciplines this to see what they do on this site. Does not do so. Peaches does lose his life, only planting with just about 13 seconds left on the map. Hopefully the Terps are able to get a little bit of a retake here. Swirl is redeeming himself, getting a pick on that enemy Neon, but we're so spread apart that I don't think this is going to be an easy retake, especially how much over the NYU's hanging out on main. Zera getting picked off by that Phoenix. Again, Carrot's also getting picked off, and Swirl's also getting picked off again. NYU is starting to show a little bit more momentum on how they decide to play their games tonight.
Very reminiscent of the previous round, with NYU staying true to that default that paid off for them. And 3-person aggression from Terps off of A site. And that round was really important because everyone had full loadouts that round. So whoever was going to lose that round, which was the Terps, as you can see now, is kind of left with a less than ideal economy situation. So the Terps have found themselves in a bit of a hole. Although the scoreline is pretty close, these next couple of rounds are going to be really tough.
Yeah, we're kind of forced onto a little bit of a save round here. Jowzera there with a freaking judge, which is kind of nice to see, but we're kind of forced to just use our secondary weapons. Peaches unfortunately losing his life again in that same spot. We're trying to rush on to the rest of these NYU players, but it just doesn't work out for us. We already have lost 3 of our Terps. Hopefully we don't lose a 4th or 5th with only being about 30 seconds into the round. It's very fast. Void able to get a pick on that Phoenix, but it doesn't help the Terps considering there's only 2 of us left against these 4 NYU players.
Man, UMD got punished for any sort of aggression that they wanted to show that round. And now they are paying the consequences of a 2v4. Like you said, spike planted, uphill battle. You have pistols in hand. You have a judge in hand. What do the Terps have in their back pockets?
Hopefully we could go a little gun shopping here, but Boyd gets picked off, kind of off guard. Unfortunate timing there. And it's all left to Jowzera to try and get as many picks as he can at this point. Hopefully he doesn't see this Astra, but I think it's just a tale of unfortunate timing for this round. And I think we just need to get that round over with.
I think the Terps felt similarly. It kind of seemed like that round was really a means to get into this next round, into a full buy and into a timeout to regroup and think, what can we do differently on the defense? It's not like they haven't tried to switch it up. They have tried multiple different things. Nothing has seemed to consistently work for them. It's more so been a question of picks and who is getting those early round picks to really determine which way the round is going to go. The Terps have managed to have a successful retake for one of the rounds that we've seen so far, but for the most part, it's been the story of a guessing game of which site is NYU going to hit, because they have been pretty secretive as to which one they're actually going to go to by defaulting, by cutting noise and rotating. Those are all things that the Terps have not really had an answer to yet. So that is going to be the biggest thing that they have to discuss on the defensive half, at least.
And I will say it's kind of annoying to know that those are some unanswered questions. You really want to know at all times, how is the enemy team playing? What do they have up their sleeve? And how are you going to be able to counter that? And I think that's what's really catching UMD off guard, is that they're playing that way. And I think that's kind of like a tactic that UMD has played themselves before, both our academy and our premier team. So it's kind of weird to see that an enemy team is doing what you would do on, on a map. But either way, it's kind of one of those things where you just have to adapt to fast. And I hope our team has what it takes to adapt just as fast. As already some action happening. A-Main Swirl's able to get a lucky pick through that Astra Smoke, getting that enemy Neon out of the equation. But this time, NYU is basically almost full push onto A-Main. They didn't decide to default just yet, as they're kind of retreating back onto mid a little bit, but I know that they still want to wait for this A-Main push.
And just still looking like the intentions of NYU are to go A site. Peaches lands a beauty.
And hopefully is able to land another one. But this KJ has been lurking a lot and is already going in through our gallery, I believe. And hopefully Jauzera does not get caught off guard yet again. KJ already pinging that somebody is here. And, I really wish Jauzera kind of switched it up just a little bit to, it's kind of a little expected already happening, this many times into the game. So hopefully he's able to help himself here, as Peaches is kind of just sitting here fighting the rest of NYU, and it's moving very fast this time. They're full pushing onto A site as much as they can, and they didn't touch anything past mid.
NYU is really, really struggling to get a hold of this A site, and they were able to pick off Swirl, so it might be a different story.
Exactly. With only 9 seconds left on the clock, NYU has to plant or else they are going to lose the round. And it only takes 4 seconds to plant, and already with that, they are not going to get this fight. So, thankfully, the Terps were able to get that round win, but I don't think that's what Coach Arjun had ended up discussing.
But
during that.
It worked anyway. On the other side of a
true.
timeout, you only used one of the 5 ultimates that the Terps had available to them heading into that round. And for that round in particular, I want to claim the MVP of that was Void's Astra Smokes, because that deep smoke in A main really, really, really helped the outcome look better on A main. We've seen the past couple of rounds, they've lost players early there, but with that deep smoke, it really slowed down NYU. And with the re-hit later onto A, and look at the smokes again, Void is really putting in the work here.
He's doing so much for his team so far, but this time NYU decides to take a little bit more dominance as they try and push onto A main, sending in their Phoenix to get as information as they can. Swirl's able to take out that Phoenix, ultimate, but no sign of NYU on that site just yet. They know how many of the Terps are left onto the site, so they're a little wary of continuing this push onto A main, as it's just dead silent after using all of that utility again. Already detonating that KJ ultimate. Hopefully that would push out the Terps and gets NYU a little bit of momentum to get onto that site to help them out, as the Terps are kind of just forced to retreat back into their little defender spawn here, back into CT, as NYU starts to take their positions, planting into that spike, and starts flooding in to our main a little bit here. Already getting some amazing picks here. We are 3v4, unfortunately, on the Terps end, and all we have to do is just get this spike and just call it a day.
Yeah, Spike is ticking. It's a brawl on site. Fade ultimate, Astra ultimate used. Peaches dies. Void is there for the trade. So is Jauzera. The Terps have found themselves on the position to defuse this bomb, but they have got to kill this Phoenix. Jauzera is there to save the day, and he should have plenty of time to defuse this bomb.
An amazing round there going on. Look how focused Jowzera is there. But goodness, was that a round. What the heck happened? Literally what happened?
It was a bit of a, I want to say random round a little bit. NYU, I feel like really hurt themselves by taking an extra second there because the Terps had rotated really quickly off A site, and instead of taking advantage of that and flooding this A site, they sat in A main and made a lot of noise. So the Terps stopped in their tracks on the rotate, doubled back to A, and that is what won them the round.
And hopefully that's something that we get to see a little bit more within these next few rounds, because we're already even here, 4v4, a little bit of a blind on themselves there on NYU, but nonetheless, a round that was.
NYU's being really passive, more passive than we have seen in the past, but Swirls is not having any of it, standing true to that position in mid. But looks like NYU is backing up even further and reconvening before they decide what site they want to hit.
And that's something that they're really good at. They're really good at reconvening and winning their 1v1s. And I think that's one of their biggest strengths here. And it's confusing the Terps a little bit because, you know, you could only do so much to stay planted on, you know, your sites and your, you know, where you're holding. But it's like they're so patient. Like at this point, I'd be so antsy to like run onto site already.
And they're still being really super duper quiet. But I want to point out the Terps really staying true to their positioning here. They're not getting antsy. They're not over rotating towards that B site. And that is going to pay off beautifully for them. With Swirls getting that first pick onto site, onto the Neon as well. Void also netting himself a kill. But the Terps have put up a beautiful Astra Smoke once again to stop NYU in their tracks. And oh my goodness, Void's Astra utility usage has been just textbook for this Pearl map so far. Oh my god.
These past 3 rounds are interesting. I really feel like NYU is losing their momentum almost. I mean, like, yes, they still are able to, you know, stay true to their sides and kind of rotate and reconvene effectively and, you know, kind of make as much noise as they can to get as much information. But they kind of just 1, 2, 3 go onto site a little bit. I mean, that Neon is obviously their entry. You know, all they do is kind of just stun that little corner and then wall up into site, and then we have all that utility coming in from UMD, but they didn't really execute with that Neon, so I'm a little confused as to how their executions have been these past few rounds.
So much aggression from the Terps early on both sides, A and B. It pays off for Void, who's able to get a pick, although Carrots does get traded. Swirls, Jowzera both falling victim to an early push there. Able to down Spike, but now the 2 remaining Terps, one of which is Peaches with an operator, mind you, are kind of regrouping and trying to sniff out where exactly NYU is going to plant this bomb.
And I think that's kind of what NYU was trying to do, was kind of bait the Terps almost into their crosshairs. I mean, once the Terps starts to hear and see action, they kind of just rush into it.
Oh, Peaches loses the operator instantly, and Void dies quickly as well. That is a very expensive round for the Terps to lose.
Getting a little bit of that extra plant money at the end of the round as well on NYU, but I really don't know what to say. Like, these past few rounds from NYU have been kind of mind game-ish, I guess you could say. It's a little mind-boggling for both the Terps and NYU themselves to see how this is all playing out. I mean, we utilize a lot of utility. Both of our teams are doing a great job utilizing all this utility, but it's really just up to the Terps to kind of hold on for a second and kind of just wait for the action, because we're already trying to take as much dominance as we can, pushing up onto B main, and I like that. But as we've seen on A main, when we kind of push up to take that aggression, it doesn't work out for us all the time. So hopefully with Peaches being, you know, positioned here as he has been for this, you know, past few rounds, he's able to get his picks and get as much information and kind of just TP out and call it a day, just to see how the rest of NYU is going to go ahead and decide to push onto this A site if they decide to do so.
See, high stakes play from Peaches there because he has nowhere to run in that position. He's not able to tuck behind a corner. It's all or nothing there for Peaches, and that time, unfortunately, the result was nothing. But that doesn't mean this round is over. Void is in a corner full blind, and he will die as a result. So will Carrots. All of the pieces come crumbling down for the Terps on this A site. Swirls is the sole Terp remaining, has a Vandal in hand, but this would have to be perfect from Swirls with an ace on his horizon. But able to get the first one and the second down to 32 HP, but gets caught with an operator shot. And I would assume that operator was picked up off of Peaches.
And that was kind of one of those op shots that were like through like the wall, like a pixel, and was able to get Swirls. And that, hopefully, we kind of learned our lesson there just a little bit. I mean, the Terps kind of forced to just save in this situation. Our comedy is not the best. We're not utilizing it as much as we can because of that last round. But I want to see something new with these setups, especially on a defense side. It's kind of getting, not old per se, but it's getting a little, we're kind of getting red in a bit. So hopefully we're able to kind of just focus on our fights and win those rather than with our utility.
A beautiful off angle from Carrots, not able to net a pick off of it, but here we are full-fledged on to this B bomb site. Carrots playing elbow, or Peaches rather, excuse me. Peaches playing elbow, gets 2-piece for him, and he is not done. He is still backside waiting for more swings to come his way there, but NYU not backing up either. They're on the other side of this. Astral goes down and all the cards are left on the table there. UMD getting a 2-piece. Carrots as well thrown in there, only dwindled down to one NYU player. KJ trying to make any economy moves that they can, but Void will clean it up.
And that was the really good retake there. I mean, high stakes, that Astral Wall coming down and the automatic blind, that was a lot to take in. That was a lot to see. That could have gone south very, very fast. But the Terps were able to persist and did such an amazing job for that round, and we were able to take it home. But now, what is it, half? Almost half?
Yeah, we're getting close. And also, it's slightly weird here because the players who we're used to seeing in the studio are not playing their typical roles. I want to point out Carrots. We thought she was going to be on that chamber.
We thought so,
and she is actually playing Initiator, which is a new role for her. She's doing very well on that fade, but Terps a little bit just out of their element in some ways, but they're able to tie it up, and it's an early A fight again. This time the Terps are the ones pressing for the aggression. An early trade comes through, but nothing more quite yet.
And it's nice to see that finally the Terps kind of just get to switch sides as well. I think I'm so used to seeing the Terps be so aggressive, but unfortunately not in this situation. But still, I like to see the Terps be more aggressive, and I don't think I'm used to seeing them be so passive in this sense, even if they do decide to push up a little bit. It's just not normal. But look at these Astra smokes.
Yeah, Void is really putting in the work with Astra smokes, but NYU also has an Astra who is also smoking really, really well. Carrots left in a 1v3 scenario, has bomb control and has site control by the looks of it, but she is not satisfied with that. She wants to make sure she gets a couple of picks before she feels safe enough to plant that bomb. Is going to swing backside, look into flowers, lands a really clean shot with a ghost, pulls out her ghost for a second. Carrots is on fire, has worked her way into a 1v1. She's going to run all the way towards B site and buy herself a lot of time here.
And it's just ring around the rosy here. I mean, she's going to decide to stick to that B side plan, but what the heck was that? Those were some crazy 3 picks there by Carrots. And, it's a good thing that she kind of checked. Me personally, I think I would have just straight up planted. But Carrots just has that mindset of just, making sure things are thorough. And it's so nice to see again back in the studio, and she's just such a great player, so hopefully she's able to sniff out this KJ and how they're going to decide to do this bit of a retake here.
The tap comes through. Carrots knows exactly where this KJ is. Got the HP down to half, using all of her Fade utility. Swings, dances around the pillar, and it's a 4K for Carrots to set the Terps up beautifully after the half switch.
And it's nothing out of the ordinary for Carrots there. Such an amazing and beautiful play. I was holding my breath the whole time. She did such an amazing job. And now, knowing that how well Carrots is how well the Terps are able to play on the attacker side, let's see how they, NYU ends up reacting. Here we go. You have another replay, getting that second pick, getting a third, mind you, with just one bullet. So amazing.
See, I love the Ghost. I think it's a great gun. Every single pistol, I'm buying a Ghost. And Carrots is honestly my inspiration from now on. That was a great Ghost clip. And hopefully, the team is going to be buzzing off of that momentum of Carrots getting that 4K. But despite that, they are playing this one a little bit slower. They're kind of taking their chances in mid with Swirls pushing up right with Void behind him. But they have got to watch out for this KJ that's right on the other side of mid here, waiting for a push to come through. Is actually crouching, has their crosshair lined up perfectly. So it's a bit of a calm before the storm here in mid, where we see shots being fired early in this round, and Swirl's just trying to avoid all this KJ utility, just gonna run through it, pay no mind to it. But he's got to watch out for on site, where there's an NYU player posted up with a classic in hand and is waiting to catch any sort of eye on Swirl. Swirl's not going to see them at all, and he's going to make his teammate pay for it with the right click to deny the plant. Jauzera able to be the equalizer, but not for long. 3v2 in favor for the Terps, make that a 3v1. Terps have found their way onto this bomb site, and they are not gonna let it go. Man, little bit of a messy round, but the Terps got it under control eventually.
That is such a Neon main thing ever. I mean, you just have to be fast with it. You have to throw in all your utility. You have to juke every single thing you see and juke every player you see and just move. And that's a skill you really have to master, especially if you decide to play Neon on a map like Pearl. It's such a big map, and what a crazy, that was main character stuff from Swirls there. That was insane. So hopefully we get to see a little bit more from the rest of the Terps on this upcoming push as we start to go a little bit of a split here, but we still are comfortable with going back down mid and sticking to a 2-player push onto A.
Swirls and Jauzera, like you mentioned, they are, I think, the tied for top frag right now for their team, especially Swirls. Being able to take the space here on attack is going to become increasingly more important. This round, Terps doing a 3-2 split in mid and kind of favoring this A side a little bit. Looks like they are going to regroup, but they've got to watch out for this KJ lurk yet again.
And it's quiet. It's always quiet. And, Terps seem like they're going to end up reconvening, especially since a Spike is with them, onto that B. But do they know that Neon is so close onto that B main, so pushed up, that the rest of the Terps are just going to full-on push, maybe? We're not quite sure.
See, it looked like Swirls was going to push initially there, and then he backed up, and it looks like the rest of the team is following suit, and instead going to join Peaches and Carrots here on A site. That's apparently clear right now. Regardless, Carrots going to use that Fade ultimate. Smokes are initiated for Void, but Peaches wants more, and Peaches is going to find more. What a beautiful Sheriff shot, and Carrots is actually working right alongside him there. Peaches is doing so well right now to stop the retake before it even happens, but the Terps are losing numbers on site. Jauzera, Swirls both fall victim to this retake. So does Void. It's down to those two, Peaches and Carrots, trying to keep this bomb ticking. Make that just a job for Peaches now. Half HP. They're on the bomb. Peaches lands a beautiful first shot, but the Phoenix is staying true to this bomb, and he is sticking. Peaches has to swing and just does not quite have the read on that.
And you know what? Real gamers do stick, unfortunately, as the saying goes. But that does not take away from how well Peaches performed within that round. Hello, it's just all chamber pistol. Everybody does so well with that chamber pistol, and it's so nice to see how great Peaches was able to, kind of retake that, but unfortunately we weren't unable to read whether or not that Phoenix was sticking onto the spike. And you know what? That's okay. You win some, you lose some. We're still doing pretty well against NYU so far. So hopefully the Terps are able to take this new split into something that they're able to just lock in.
Peaches using that chamber ultimate bright and early into this round, and it's a risky play on attack, but when you're a chamber, you got to use that ultimate eventually. So it's going to be this round for Peaches, and where else to use that ultimate but Belong. But he's not going to quite get a clear shot like he was hoping to with that Astra Smoke being used for the side of NYU. So a bit of a quiet round yet again for both sides.
And I want to see this A push again. Hopefully the Terps kind of stick onto that A main push, especially since we do have Void starting to place in those smokes. So I'm thinking, yep, Swirl's already onto that site, is trying to get as much damage as he can for the rest of his team.
Oh, he's just trying to spray through any smokes. Meanwhile, Peaches nets a pick with his operator Void and Jauzera both also finding themselves some success here on this A site. Meanwhile, Swirls does get picked off, but Peaches still has that chamber ultimate in hand, and he is going to post up in a main, which is exactly where you would expect him. But now the rest of his team has to help out as these two players are left into dugout. It's a beautiful two-piece from Carrots there, and suddenly the Terps look like they've kind of fallen to a groove here on attack.
I think they started to see that maybe they weren't that fit for defend side. There goes Carrots again. Crazy picks in dugout over there. Like it's nothing. And awesome skin. I love that skin. I think that's Kuronami skin.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful skin. But either way, the Terps have finally found their groove, like you said, Lily, and are starting to pick it up a little bit. So hopefully they are able to keep this momentum here as they seem to be doing that same push as they do against Swirls, is already ready to just go in and just get as much as he can. Just kind of like a little fly, almost.
This is like the pillar of Neon gameplay right now that Swirls is embodying. But Jauzera is the one to strike first in this round as him and his teammates are trickling in through art. Doesn't look like NYU's too eager to push that, and they're going to smoke it off instead to try and slow down the wrath of Swirls and Jauzera. Them two have been kind of a dynamic duo in terms of just their picks go, but also in terms of they tend to play together as well. But meanwhile, Terps trying to make any site work. They're keeping their options open. They're sending Peaches Belong, seeing what happens. He's trying to find a pick there. But yet again, we've fallen into a bit of a waiting period, which has been kind of a theme in the past couple of rounds.
Yeah, and that Neon's doing the same things that Swirls would be doing too. So it's kind of funny to see how it mirrors just a little bit here as we finally get to see the Terps kind of almost commit onto this A-site push.
And it will have to be the A-side push, but they have got to clear dugout where this Astra is just patiently waiting for Swirls to maybe get too aggressive. Swirls just gonna dance around in Astra's face. It will be Jauzera to get that pick. But the job is not finished here. Terps able to get this bomb down 3v1. They're hopefully gonna be able to keep it ticking, but they have got to kill this Phoenix first, down to 27 HP. They know exactly where he is. It should not be a problem here for the Terps.
And really, it's just, now they're just playing in his face at that point. Void doing a little bit of that Astra pull in there. But honestly, I think you can tell how the Terps are, I think you can tell which site they're going to decide to push on. All you have to do is really just spectate Swirls to see if he's already like in that Neon sprint mode and all of a sudden that wall is up and that those two stuns are down. That's how you know. And it's good to see that his pushes, like, you know, his aggressiveness is actually working. I don't think it would work as well as, you know, it would have in that defender side earlier. It didn't. I don't think I got to see him perform as well because of that.
And that's a good point. The Terps seem to constantly commit with Swirl's positioning, and it looks like they're going to follow a similar suit, just charging in art here. And they've actually completely lost main control, but they don't care. They're going to smoke it off, but they're going to get caught trying to work out a Vice ultimate to help them out. Swirl's able to do just that, and he's not done. He's going to hold a really aggressive angle, finds himself yet another pick. Meanwhile, Jalzera dies, able to get that fade to less than ideal HP. The Terps don't care about the bomb at all. We are just absolutely being menaces running down this B site. We don't care about what's textbook. We don't care about how you're supposed to play Valorant. It's messy, but it's working for the Terps. Carrots getting another pick down to a 4v2 bomb plant, and the Terps have plenty of time here.
And I think that's one of the things that we're finally able to see the Terps catching up with their momentum. You know, they're comfortable with how to play the game now. Now they know how NYU's reacting. So hopefully we're able to keep that up. Swirl's already getting third. Hopefully he gets a fourth.
Yeah, he's knocking on the door for a 4K, and it will be a beautiful round for Swirls. He is having a really good game, particularly on the attack where he's able to shine in his Neon utility.
Doing great here. And, you know, it just seems like everything's sunshines and rainbows to Swirls right now. Just moving along, just doing as his team says. And, you know, I have a hot take. I feel like I haven't seen a duelist as sporadic as Swirls tonight. Like, I don't know. It's just something, I don't know, maybe it's because it's a neon, you know, agent or anything, or if it's the player, but it's so much movement happening on our screens right now. It's a lot.
Yeah, he's dancing around, doing a two-step, just all over NYU right now. Peaches falling a victim to a judge in the early round, and Carrot's going to use her fade ultimate, but they do lose Swirls. That's going to be an issue for the Terps because they've had to kind of rely heavily on him being able to net a couple kills each round. Void, though, being the puzzle piece to fit together a beautiful round here and to hopefully keep the Terps lead going. They do have Void's Astral Wall if they so choose to use that here once they get this bomb down. They are waiting for a swing to come their way, actually, though, but I do think they will end A. But in the later round, they really have to watch out for that KJ.
And I think that Astra would really benefit them, considering that NYU is basically on a save round. And it's, you know, once they get that Astral detonated, I'm pretty sure that would make NYU make more moves. But it would just benefit the Terps a lot here. It would block off a lot of site coverage as well. So hopefully we'll see how NYU decides to go on about it.
Opting to use a lot of Astra smokes instead of a wall. Void gets his third for the round and is able to buy enough space for the Terps to get this bomb planted. But these smokes are about to dissipate, and all bets are up here for NYU. They've got to work their way onto this site. It's a really good bandit kill for NYU to take down Void. Jalzera, though, not having any of it in Flowers, is hunting for the final pick, and that is going to be enough to push the Terps at map point.
And that means that NYU finally has money to kind of just buy up for this last round, especially, well, hopefully it's this last round, considering that the Terps are already at 12 now, meaning that just one more round to win before the Terps are able to take home Pearl as the first map of tonight. But we're going to have to full buy. It looks like everybody is just full sending it. And, you know, NYU has a little bit of leeway if they do end up winning this round. But now that we're on attack side, I think the Terps are able to take this home.
And they look like they're in shape to take this one home with that Astra ultimate being used by Void. He's going to throw down a couple smokes to help Swirls case out a little bit as he's trying to just do a dance and elbow. It's so chaotic from Swirls, but it's working out beautifully. He's going to swing the aggression with his teammates by his side. Their trades come through. UMD ending up on the worst side of it. Swirls doesn't care. He is just dying on sight. The push did not quite work out for them. The Terps paid for their aggression and their eagerness that round. Oh my goodness.
And you know, that's okay. That's kind of the, I guess, thing you have to know about Neon is that sometimes it works and sometimes being too fast catches you off guard and it doesn't. And knowing that there's another Neon on the other side countered us just a little bit, but that's okay. We still have a little more leeway, like I said. And honestly, I would ask for a timeout from our coach here for the Terps. I would ask for a timeout just to kind of seal the deal, because the way NYU kind of retook that, it was a little too coordinated, I guess if you could say. I mean, the Terps are already ready to go ahead and full push yet again onto this B site, but that just means that NYU's expecting that.
And it's deja vu. This is looking very similar to the previous round that the Terps ended up losing. I think Swirl is taking the exact same pathing as the last round, hopefully ending in a different result. Still being really aggressive, hunting down these late rotates. Looks heaven, gets the pick, and he flicks to find another one, only down to 30 HP. Now the Terps have to work around this KG ultimate that NYU has placed. Terps have the bomb planted, so they can't really back away from site too much. They're hiding in elbow. Void gets himself a pick. Bomb is still ticking down here, and the Terps are going to clean up map number 1 with a W. And I think what we've learned from this round is that the Terps are an attack-sided team.
Most definitely are an attack-sided team. And you know what? Maybe that is the strat. Start us off a little rough on the defender side and then leave us to the attacking side and just kind of let us win the rest of the rounds for the night. But nonetheless, an amazing map from Terps Esports tonight on Pearl. I believe our next map is either Bind or Haven.
It'll be Bind, yeah.
It'll be Bind. So hopefully we do become defender-sided on Bind and then finish it off attacking. So yeah, not much to... Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Bind unfolds. And for that, make sure you guys tune in after a quick commercial break.
My name is Subin Kim, my in-game name is Carrots, and I'm the controller of this team.
My name is Hannah, my IGN is Tuxedo Sam, and I play Sentinel for the team.
My name is Sima, my in-game name is Care Bear, and I'm a flex.
My name is Megan, my IGN is Giraffe, and I'm an initiator.
My name is Sophia, my IGN is Soap, and I'm an initiator.
Hi everyone, I'm Ayush, my in-game name is Dulce, and I'm the coach.
For me, I think it was just really interesting to see like our names on like social media and like on a website. I'm just like, whoa, my name is on a website but so I think that was like the number one thing that kind of like just it brought the realization of like what kind of team I'm in, like what kind of position I'm in.
Meeting them. It's like hard to make a woman and non-binary friends in Valorant, so it's just really nice that we have like a team specifically for that.
The studio.
Yeah.
Oh, the studio. Oh, I didn't even know that existed. I didn't know that existed until like remember like when we first talked about the studio. I was like, what's that? When I first went to the room, I was like, oh, there's cameras and lighting. I'm just like, that's
nice computer.
Nice computer.
So
true.
Winning.
Yeah.
Winning. Oh, so true. W. Winning.
Getting that.
Yeah. That.
Yeah, I feel like
was pretty cool.
Plastic.
Hey. I would say supportive is definitely like Dusty and Rachel. Those two, just like making sure we had scrims down, making sure we had practice schedules down, like Dusty making sure like to pick out what we did wrong, just like, helping us improve. I think definitely.
Yeah, Dusty's a very present coach, so
very.
It's like he's really reliable and helped us through the whole season.
Thanks, team.
Yeah, you'd even like schedule things for us,
like organize all those schedules,
help us map bands and like talk to them if realize if one of them was like unranked or something. Breaking a rule. Making teams forfeit.
Maybe we don't talk about that last part.
I would also say like our fans in chat, like on stream.
True.
It was nice knowing
W chat.
And the haters.
Oh yeah.
Improve in the higher division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is definitely more challenging because we're in a higher division now. But I think we could, like, with our coordination, I definitely think we could. We need to bring home another one of these.
It feels great.
Yeah.
You guys know this is the first title that Terps Esports has won.
Wait, seriously?
And by women.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously? Oh.
First time.
Cool.
I like playing Valorant.
Have an excuse to play games.
True, that's good.
For me, I joined because, well, like I've always wanted to be on a women's team, especially like since I got to UMD, and me and Dusty had always like tried to make teams work every semester, and this was the first time it actually did work and stuck, and the people who tried out like were committed. So I guess I've always just wanted to be on a women's team to like connect more to that community.
To make friends.
So I had that gap, without a team for a while, and then I saw the form, and I was like, I really want to try this. This sounds fun. And then, yeah, I play Valorant too much. First of all, I did not imagine me being IGL when I first started, because I am, outside of my Lilac team, I am known as the no-brain, only aim chamber in comp. So I did not imagine myself being IGL. But I think there were some difficulties in the beginning, because I wasn't used to giving out comms. I was just very confused. But I think now it's just the amount of trust that my teammates give me when I give out comms, and the amount of coordination that we have. I just love being IGLing, because I trust that things will work out.
I think by the end of the season, now we play together, everyone kind of jokes around a little bit more and kind of shines their natural ray. We're excited just to see them play better as well.
With the middle school program, the best part has been seeing the moments of teamwork where the middle schoolers really seem to get the game, and so that's when you can see they're starting to get a little bit hooked on how esports can be so fun.
Off game, or will Red turn things around?
Welcome back, everybody, for another amazing Terps Esports broadcast tonight. Terps Academy co-ed team is going against NYU, and we just won our first map on Pearl, and it goes to the Terps, and we're going to go on to Bind next.
And what we learned in Pearl is that the Terps are an attack-sided team.
Yep.
They really, really, really benefit from aggression from their duelists. And that round, that was Swirls. And he had such an amazing game last round on that Neon. Absolutely just dancing around his opponents. Let's take another look at those stats. He is just a player to definitely watch out for in this next round. I'm really curious to see which duelist he picks on Bind. I feel like that tends to be a Raze map, which could be really, really fun. So lots to look forward to on map number 2.
And Raze is just one of those characters who are also just as bouncy. You know, it's another character that relies on a lot of movement the way like Jet and Waylay do. And, you know, now that I say Jet and Waylay, maybe it might be a Waylay.
It could be.
I want to, you know, I don't think I've seen Waylay picks on Bind, at least from Terps Esports, but it would be nice to see, especially now we know how fast he is of a player. And, you know, he's very quick when it comes to reacting to these things. So hopefully that's something that we will be able to see, and it'd be something new to see as well. This is also something new to see.
Yeah, this is the inner workings of it all. But yeah, lots to kind of look forward to on Bind. I really do enjoy Bind as a map. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to have different like play styles on Bind. I think it's one of the maps that has the biggest realm of like allowable agents to play, or like meta agents to play, if that makes sense. So in terms of like other agents who I would expect, some teams really do love running a Cypher on this map, particularly with setups on B site on the defensive side of things. So that could be something to watch out for. I know sometimes in terms of smokes, it's a mix. It's a mix. Omen Viper, our favorite here, and I can speak to at least the Premier team. Moose is always going to run Viper on Bind. But we have a cat here, so this is part of the fun of it. We get to kind of see how they adapt to different maps.
Going back to that Cypher pick on P-Site, have you seen the little spider web outside of Hookah?
Yes.
Or like outside of Window almost, and a lot of people kind of just like get caught in it and kind of like bounce back, and it's like a humiliation ritual. It's not fun getting caught in Cypher trips that aren't expected. So hopefully maybe we'll see a little bit of maybe like a KJ pick, Cypher, I don't know, something new. But I am expecting another Chamber. I feel like Peaches might go Chamber again.
Yeah, he had a really great game on Chamber, and this is another map that Chamber is played on pretty commonly because of the potential to TP on some pretty neat off angles. So that could be something to watch out for as well. And Humiliation Ritual is so funny, but that's what it feels like.
It really does.
When you play against a good Cypher like that and you get caught mid-air, you're like, oh my goodness, like this is not going to end well. So hopefully UMD has, those tricks up our sleeves. And I, as someone who plays Sentinel in my comp games a lot, I really like Deadlock on this map. That may be a hot take.
No. I completely agree. I think her utility is really versatile, and it's annoying, like in a good way. It's annoying to go against, but to have on your team is very useful. But seeing that stupid cage detonate, like if you're trying to push out to showers, but then you're like stuck at an angle, and then that cage is there, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my life. Like that's it. Like Deadlock is one of those characters, like rage baity characters, but it just works so well for you if you guys are on the same team. It's really hard to work around playing against a Deadlock.
Yeah, and that's maybe not something that the Terps have in their composition rotation, but NYU might. We have not seen NYU in the studio before. So, and I haven't even in my years of casting or have not commentated an NYU game. So this is just a completely new opponent for us as, seasoned Terps esports watchers, but also for the players. So this is going to be a map where a lot of different strategies will shine through. And my biggest question heading onto this map is, what side are the Terps going to start this on?
Hopefully they're on Defender's side. I mean, considering they were on Defender's side last game, they actually might end up being on Attackers for this map. But even if they are, I think it's okay to start off on your strong suit anyways, because you'll end up adapting to the Defender side as you go on. You kind of see how NYU decides to push on Attacker side. I mean, I think we started picking up momentum a little bit later when we were on the Defender side on Pearl, like a lot later. But either way, things change for NYU. You never know if they're going to pull out the same tactics that they did on Pearl. I really don't want to see a Phoenix on Bind. Like, I feel like, because I haven't seen a Phoenix on Pearl in a minute now, and I feel like that's such an interesting choice to pick alongside with the Neon. But that Phoenix did end up getting some pretty, good plays and was able to help their team out a lot with that Phoenix ult. So I guess it worked out. So.
And we are yet again starting this one off on a tech pause, but it is worth it, guys. This overlay is so cool. And again, huge shout out to Void, who has really been the one to get this overlay up and running. He's showed up to studio like 10 minutes before he has a match to run in, work on it, and then leave. he is really just the brains behind this overlay that we have. So huge thanks to him. But also, I know his teammates have got to be thanking him for the performance that he's had tonight on that controller pick. He just is really smart with his utility, really smart with where he's playing his smokes, and he does it like differently each round. He's not doing the same smoke setup round after round, which is honestly inspirational, because I feel like when I'm playing controller, I just like place the smokes in the same spot every single time. But he really adapts to his team's positioning and how the round is unfolding.
Yeah, and like each smoke is kind of placed with purpose, I guess you could say, and it's I mean, like I said, I would also do the same. Look at him working hard. He's still working. Mind you, he has a game right now, guys. But this tech pause is so worth it. And I know you guys saw it. That API, the overlay was just so amazing. And mind you, guys, we're still students. So knowing that he's using his brains in his studies along with his passion says a lot. So he's doing a lot for us here at Terps Esports, and it's, you know, still in the works, but it's still nice to see. I mean, it's something new here. We're always evolving, always adapting.
It's always cool to see like people's majors peek out in different things. Like Bree is such a talented graphic designer, guys. She was showing me all of her graphic design stuff beforehand. And it's like stuff like that. You get to like kind of, we're all students too, which is a really interesting like facet to like collegiate esports in general. I know Hayden, shout out Hayden, another caster, 3D printed a little M for us in the studio. So as a physics major, so it's very cool to see everyone, you know, have their personalities along with being a player.
But it's also nice to see, even if your majors are like completely different. I mean, you do bioengineering, right?
Yes.
Like, you wouldn't have thought Lily is so good at casting now, would you? Like, come on, but give her an equation, she can solve it. Like, come on, guys. It's so nice to see the difference between a major and a hobby. Like, it's really just makes somebody so well-rounded. And, you know, that's the awesomeness of Terps Esports. Everybody is so different, and they're able to bring in, you know, all their backgrounds and just make it fun. Make it really fun. Like our broadcast director, CJ, guys. I know CJ made a documentary before, right? Was, you know, and he's the brains behind our broadcast. Make that 2 documentaries. My apologies. So it's good to see that people are just putting their passions into their hobbies. It's nice to see.
And another kind of aspect to the fun that our players are having, this has been a semester full of LANs, more than any semester that I have seen in the past. I know our premier team just got back from Chicago, but Saturday they're going to be heading to New Jersey at Rowan University to compete in another LAN. I know maybe some of our other titles are joining them as well. And then that's not all. We have Bloom LAN to look forward to afterwards. And then potentially, if the play versus vibe has been going, how it's been continuing to go, we might find ourselves at a play versus LAN eventually. Ooh. So lots to look forward to. It's been a semester of travel. It's been a semester of team bonding, because that's what travel really is for this program too. So very exciting semester for Terps Esports overall.
It's a good opportunity too. I mean, I know Bloom is often reoccurring for you guys, usually for the Overwatch team, question mark. And they won how many?
I believe like last year they won
last
Bloom
year.
LAN,
And that trophy was so beautiful, and I believe it's hosted at GMU as well, and it's local. Like, what the heck, guys? Local LAN or what? So it's nice to see, and thank you guys again for Giving Day funds. That obviously is going to set our players up for success, and not just our players but the staff as well, for the, you know, potential opportunity to go and travel with our players as well. So that's something nice to know as well.
And also other cool staff opportunities. Bree and I actually had the opportunity to attend a casting workshop with Tiny Shiny, who is a collegiate and professional Overwatch caster. Mostly Overwatch. She does a lot of other things as well. But it's been really great to have the opportunity to get guidance from her. And that's just one of the many things that this program does for us. And again, coming off of Giving Day a few weeks ago, it's, you know, those kind of like donors and those kind of passion about the program that makes any of this possible. So yay, Terps Esports. Feeling very grateful for the program that we have, but we have bigger fish to fry. We are still in the tech pause here, but we get a glimpse at our agents.
Yeah, we finally do, and we are on attack side. We do have Viper, of course. We have a Sky. I'm going to assume Sky is going to be Carrot. That Viper is probably Josera. That Clove, Void, of course. That Raze is going to be Swirls, and then a Fade from Peaches, right? Yeah. Oh, no. Whoa, I got that completely wrong. I didn't even know our thing was up. Peaches is on Viper this time.
And I'm so stoked to see Carrots on Sky. I love Sky. Sky is a great agent. She has the best flashes in the game because you have such precision over them, but also you get so much information from them. So that is going to be a piece of utility that the Terps are going to have to rely on heavily, and they are going to be on the attack here, which is their stronger side, although First Blood goes against the Terps with Void getting picked off, and now UMD only has our Viper smokes to work with, and we have a lot of close smokes from NYU to work against. A lot of that initiator utility is going to come out. Some nades. Carrot strikes first for UMD with a classic pick. So does Swirls. The Terps have found themselves here on this B site, and now they just have to play some post plant, but HP's not looking too good for Carrot. She's not going to want to take an early fight here. Instead, it's going to be Jowzera with that ghost yet again, and they are not going to go down without a fight here. UMD being really aggressive right on the other side of CT to make this round a quick one, but a very successful one.
And something about that first round felt very confident, I guess you say. Confident, very homey. Maybe it's because I'm so used to seeing a bind map on here, but it seemed like everything was like a well-oiled machine almost. It seemed like it flowed nicely, and hopefully we can keep that up for these next up-and-coming rounds, especially since we're going to end up switching to defenders, but that's not till later on. And finally, we get to force a little bit. We get to buy a little bit, so hopefully pushing onto this A site gets a little easy, so kind of watch out for that shorty, though, so be careful.
And it's these Clove smokes that have been really challenging early, just so far to deal with, because the Clove is placing their smokes so deep that the Terps almost have nowhere to go. But meanwhile, Jowzera might be the one to catch First Blood here with a Guardian in hand. This Chamber really diligently watching this angle, and they're going to be able to find the Terps spike completely left up for grabs. Peaches, they're finally able to get a pick and get a hold of that spike, or that Swirls actually is going to hang on to it. So the Terps are able to regroup in elbow, but NYU has been really patient with their positioning on this A site. They're going to have to use this Viper wall to help trickle their way in through a main. They might just send a few players through showers as well. Yeah, it's very, very, very quiet for now. The Terps are walking. They maybe believe that NYU has rotated off this A site. They would be wrong for the most part. There's two NYU players staying true to these really deep line into A. Terps have not planted bomb yet, despite having this site. They're going to wait for those smokes to come down, and now they will plant the spike. And now the jig is up. The Terps have made themselves known on this A site. They're going up against pistols here, so this should be a round win for them, but they have got to clear out lamps. Carrot's trying to do so with her utility, with a Spectre in hand, has Swirls to work alongside with her, but no pick is going to be taken too eagerly, too hastily there. They're going to wait for that bomb to do its work. Meanwhile, Carrots, Peaches do get those picks that they were looking for, and the Terps just really sneaked their way through that round.
Everything kind of just happened within like 5 seconds. I was still stuck up on the fact that we had Swirls and Carrots kind of just fighting against, 3 pistol players inside of lamps, but man, we got that round really quick, and now we finally get to actually get a little bit more guns, we get to bonus just a little bit, but hopefully we're able to kind of counter against NYU now that they finally have a heavier buy against us. So let's not, fall into that snowball effect of winning the first 2 rounds and then kind of losing the third, because you kind of are forced to bonus off of it.
Big round for the economy coming up here. Looks like it's going to be taken B long. Trade comes through for either side. Spike down. That's a lot of information up for grabs for the side of NYU. The Terps have 3 players to work with here for the rest of this round. I think the gear wheels are turning. Do we take TP here? Do we take that risk? And they're going to send a decoy dog through TP. The Omen's going to get a glimpse of that for the side of NYU. But it looks like they're still looking towards this B side. They're going to invest a lot of utility that way. Swirl's going to satchel out onto site. And they have actually found themselves a completely clear site here. NYU playing really, really safe.
And I like this play. You know, it was very fast and very efficient considering we were able to kind of get off our picks here, but there is still more to NYU left with those 4 players starting to rotate on and kind of contain the Terps almost coming in from elbow. So hopefully they're kind of moving like a unit here.
They are a unit trickling into elbow and right into Carrot's crosshair. Oh my goodness, Carrots. She is on fire tonight. Oh my goodness, that's 2 clips out of Carrots in one evening.
Yo, look at that replay. As I say, they're literally moving as a unit. 1, 2, and 3. And it's just with the Guardian right into her crosshair. And that is a skilled player. She knows where their heads are going to be. And it's just, oh, go Carrots. So awesome.
And I'm really happy to see her on that Sky. I feel like she's been really using her utility well so far. And with, you know, the aim that she has, it's just a deadly combination. So Terps, yet again, for the 2nd round in a row, are pressuring up B-Long, trying to overwhelm this chamber that's there. Swirls, swings, chamber TPs back to safety, and they're going to use that utility to get themselves onto this bomb site. Again, looks like NYU is holding a really deep line with the exception of this one player in 2. Void's able to take care of that, no problem. So the Terps should be able to plant bomb comfortably. Swirl's holding an off angle, forced to hop off of it, and smokes are up now. Terps have not placed much Viper utility to help protect them. It's going to leave Void pretty much completely up for grabs. Looks like the Rays knew exactly where Void was, but deja vu. Looks like the positioning is very similar this time. It's Swirls hoping to get some kills to go his way. Only manages 1. Jauzera also falls a victim there. So Terps not quite smooth sailing here. To even playing field numbers wise, not for long as Peaches is able to strike. Meanwhile, Carrot's hiding in that smoke, but it's going to be Void to be the one to find the 3-piece to push the Terps at 0-4.
And it is indeed smooth sailing so far. 4 rounds already on the board, and those rounds are going by pretty quick. But I do want to say, Swirls is very sporadic. I have no, even, you know, if he's not on Neon right now, when he sees a target, he kind of just like moves to it and kind of does a little shake. I think that's for his aim, I feel like. And it's like nice to see because it's kind of like, I don't know, like, it's like he chugged a whole Celsius and is kind of just like, just locking onto heads. But either way, the team is just so quick with their movement. They're very fast with it. And I think this is something we could finally get to see. But this time, pretty sure Peaches is just hanging on to A site while the rest of the team just does it on to B.
Belong yet again. This time Swirls has his rocket. Not going to quite find a pick on the other side of it. But it has kind of scared NYU off well enough to buy themselves a lot of space. Void able to get a beautiful pick there and actually uses his Clove ultimate, and he's got to get a pick here. Not quite able to connect. Swirl's able to get the job done though. Bomb is ticking. 4v1 should be no problem for the Terps here. Jauzera might be the one to take first contact on that fade, and he will die. Terps now cannot quite take all their hands off their keyboard yet. They've got to watch out for this fade, who is going to be at the minimum looking for some exit frags here.
Most definitely. And you know, you would think that NYU would kind of sniff out the Terps on how successful they have been. Whoa, maybe this fade is going to be able to just take out our Terps. But with the spike dwindling, there is no choice. So hopefully Carrots is able to finish it and kind of get rid of this fade before the round ends. But might just be a save coming in from both of them. What the heck was that? I don't know. What a great play from that fade. I don't think we were expecting that at all. Kind of like an underdog moment a little bit.
And for the last, I want to say 3 rounds, the Terps have done the exact same thing. But it has worked out for them all 3 times. And I really do wonder if they're going to continue to do the same thing. Looks like they are kind of favoring that B site, or if they're going to switch it up. At least they're sending Peaches there on A. So we'll have to see how the rest of this round unfolds. It does look like for the side of NYU, they're going to be trying something a little bit different, holding an aggressive line up into Hookah. Void would be the one to make first contact there, and he's got to watch out because there is a shotgun in the hands of that Raze for the side of NYU, and also Chamber playing right beneath Hookah. It's a hard angle to hit cleanly. Peaches creeping up so quietly, although it's not enough to sneakily buy him the pick. Void has to be really diligent if clearing this angle. He clears it, but with a shotgun, it's so difficult to get that pick. Jowzera also dies suddenly. This round is not looking good for the Terps, but Carrots was looking like she could have been the savior for a moment there, but instead, NYU finds their first round win.
I'm wondering if the Terps are still going to end up trying to go on to B side. I feel like a lot of the things that happened was a little unlucky, I want to say. I mean, I don't think Peaches kind of meant, he was expecting that Omen to be there on that side, but just didn't quite mean to die in the process. I mean, same thing with Void. I mean, losing his life to a Bucky inside of Hookah almost, it's just isn't fun for anyone. But I think NYU is starting to take a little bit more dominance by purchasing this op on Chambers, and it's going to be used down B main because they had enough. They had enough here on B long, but little do they know, the Terps switch it up onto A site.
Oh, and Jowzera, a good decision there to try and use some of that Fade utility, although what the Fade utility can't tell you is that there's an operator in play. The Terps not aware of that yet, as they do lose Peaches in the early round here. Is going to be an A hit from the Terps, different than what we've seen in the last couple of rounds. They've struggled on A little bit in the early stages of this map. Void hanging on to 1 HP in the meantime, staying true to his smoke. Terps not quite able to get that bomb down yet. Swirls wants to secure a few more picks before we do so. And it's a quick TP for the Terps. Swirls gets out of there with his life barely. Oh nope, the Terps have found themselves right in the trap of this operator on this B site. And now B is not looking good either. They might just book it all the way back to A, depending on what this Sky ultimate is telling them. Yeah, it does look like they're just going to follow their cabbage and go towards A site, where this Omen is waiting, but only at 11 HP. So I do like this play call. They know exactly where that Omen is thanks to the spray. 30 seconds left that the Terps have to work with. They have got to act quickly here. Do they TP again? No, they don't have enough time anymore. They've got to stick it out here on this A site. NYU's not going to give it to them. Going to play really passively with that operator still in play. It's really difficult for the Terps to crawl their way back into that one.
I don't think I was really expecting the Terps kind of wrap around and go on to B and just get caught inside of the chamber. It's almost like that was planned, almost. I thought Chamber was kind of just sitting on B main and was just going to hang on to B main, but that repositioning back into CT really helped out NYU for that round. So do what you must with that, Terps. I want to know what's going to be so different about this A push this time. You know, now that we know that B is going to have that operator, what's going to be different? I want to see a different wall from Peaches to kind of take onto main. I feel like it's a little repetitive, but we'll see how it works out for this one.
They're staying true to that wall. Instead, they're pushing up into showers with Swirls has a Bulldog in hand, and Swirls going to use his Raze ultimate, but it gets denied. Instantly, this Clove is having an absolute amazing clip. Oh my goodness, finally, Carrots was able to put a stop to things, but it's too little too late. Oh my goodness.
And that's a clip for Sparkle.
Yes.
And rightfully so. Thank you, Coach Nopaso. Thank you, Coach Arjun, for calling that timeout. I think that is a well-deserved timeout. Not because we're losing, like, you know, for the past few rounds, but because I think we need to switch it up. I think there needs to be something new here. We've seen a lot of these old tricks that we've been playing on A and on B. We kind of beat the horse a little bit by using as much as we could on B site, but now it's repetitive. So let's move back onto A site, but that's also repetitive, and it hasn't really given us anything. So what's the difference? What can we change up this time?
Yeah, it's hard because I feel like B site just almost didn't work out for them because of the operator being in play on that site. So they, tried to transition to A, and then time was kind of running out. And then when you get a Clove clip like that, it's nearly impossible to come away with a round win there. And I also do like the timing of this timeout because you want to kind of take any momentum that Clove is feeling after hitting such an insane clip and say, no, just sit in it for a sec. Sit in it. You cannot just come out here and continue to beat us up again. So, yeah, NYU going on a bit of a run. Terps got to flip the script here quickly.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, again, Chamber's going to keep that up. Can't blame them. I'm pretty sure that we would also end up keeping that up if we did have a Chamber. But they're going to go back to the basics and switch it up and go back to B again.
Yeah, they do have to watch out for this operator. It's close left for the Terps, and luckily, none of the Terps get caught in the crossfire of that operator. Instead, Void does fall victim to a Phantom, and oh my goodness, the operator hits a collat. It's a disaster for the Terps. Can they turn this around? If anyone is going to be able to do it, it is Carrots, as she does get a pick with her trusted Guardian, is able to use her utility, try and get a sense of what's going on this B side. She does not like what she sees. She is going to back up there, and they are going to have to reconsider.
This seems too good to be true. I really don't think the Terps meant for it to fall out that way. And, you know, when it comes to just bull push, B main, you really got to think about Hookah. I mean, I feel like we probably could have at least gotten, you know, maybe the operator a little off guard there. But nonetheless, I'm pretty sure that NYU knows where the Terps is heading here. There's nowhere else that you could really head but to go back onto A site. But not to fret. I'm sure our Terps will be able to sniff out who's hiding in what corner and is hopefully able to get this Omen kind of sneaking up on him.
Oh, it's a really good positioning from the Omen there, and Jauzera finally able to get a pick. Time is of the essence, though. Only 10 seconds. Gotta start the plant before the clock hits 4. He's got to stick this plant here with only 20 HP to work with and an ultimate that could potentially be used against him. It's certainly an uphill battle. What a shot there from Jauzera, though. He's got to keep calm, not got to overheat. Won't get the opportunity, though, to show off what he's potentially able to do. And NYU continuing to crawl their way back into this map.
And, you know, as much as, you know, that round didn't go in our favor, there were some good picks that came out of that round. I mean, Jauzera just doing amazing, mind you, with a stinger. Like, and I'm pretty sure that Omen was kind of angled a little bit because they were on stairs. So, you know, you wouldn't really, you thought you kind of would have, like, headshot just a little bit. But stinger kind of just gets to you. You know, when in doubt, use a stinger. I, myself, have no luck with stingers. Everything just flies out of the gun and doesn't hit anyone. But either way, we finally get to have a little bit of a decent buy. So hopefully we're able to kind of get more dominance with this Showers push.
NYU also has 4 ultimates available to them. That is something that the Terps have to consider here. Meanwhile, they're trying to absolutely overwhelm any sort of Showers push that was happening. So NYU's going to throw up that smoke for some added security. Meanwhile, they've also got to watch out for main, where some of the Terps were looking like they were going to trickle in, but instead, UMD's really just going to take a second here, breathe, and maybe consider going B.
And I think what really sucked was how deep that Omen smoke was into Showers. I mean, you see nothing on each side, and it kind of prevents the Terps from pushing into that smoke a little bit and getting onto site afterwards. But because it was so deep, you know, not much you could really do, and you couldn't really see anything onto A site anyways.
So it will end up being a B execute for the Terps. They have 2 defenders to clear out, and that operator absolutely wreaking havoc against the Terps. Void able to get a pick onto this bomb site, make that 2 for Void, able to finally take down the operator. Hopefully the rest of the round is going to be smooth sailing, especially with Void on your team. No, not quite able to land the 3rd kill. It's going to have to be up to the rest of the 3 Terps who are alive here, who are playing really passively off site. They are going to wait to hear this defuse before doing anything hasty, and the defuse is underway. Clove ultimate used, able to kill Carrots. Peaches still trying to cook up a round win here, but cannot quite stop that bomb.
Just an unfortunate round. And, you know, finally we were able to get the operator out of the equation. but at what cost when we unfortunately kind of got ninja diffused in a way almost. But I think that just gives them more time to end up actually buying it again. Like I see there, Sparkle holding on to that operator and still positioning themselves onto that B site yet again. So I know our Terps know where this op is planted. I just wish there was a kind of a way to counter it. I don't think we've quite seen like a solid way to counter this operator just yet.
Yeah, the only way that UMD's really been trying to counter it is by killing the chamber. And there's got to be some answer in their utility here. They have yet to really crack that code. So they're still trying to make this B site work out. But again, these smokes have just caused so much of an issue for UMD. They're just going to try and work through it here. And they actually got really lucky because NYU is not holding an aggressive angle at all. They're going to use that Viper pit, but they've got to clear out elbows first. Swirl's able to get a pick onto that raise. It's a lot of important utility taken out of the equation. UMD going to hide in the cover of this Viper pit. Trade comes through on either side. Terps do have a slight numbers advantage here, but they've got to watch out for this Omen who peeks through the Viper pit, and it's just an absolute bloodbath on this B site. And NYU has the lead for the first time.
And, you know, I think we really got set up for chaos for that round. I mean, knowing how fast of a duelist Swirls is and how sporadic of a duelist he is, going onto that site, kind of no blind in or anything, kind of just satcheling onto that side was very risky. We were very lucky, like you said, Lily, that nobody was watching anything in the middle of that site. NYU was kind of just hiding a little bit in those halls. But because of that, we had to sporadically clear our corners. We didn't quite know where anybody was positioned just yet. And, you know, obviously we're going to have to Viper ult and hope for the best and stay within it. And it just didn't work out. And you know what? That's okay. It didn't work out for us, and that's all right. So let's see how we decide to take this almost or it's like a split push almost, kind of making noise.
Yeah, switching it up a little bit with the split push, not something that we've seen in rounds past. Peaches gets first blood, and off of that, Carrot's going to use her Sky ultimate to try and read out what's happening on this A site. And she does have the heal available if her teammates need it down the line. But for now, they're just able to get this bomb down, and they have yet to really clear back site. Instead, they're kind of letting the Clove go unchecked. And will one of the Terps pay for that, as the Clove looking like they have an idea of Carrot's positioning, and it's going to smoke her off. So the Terps have to be sure not to lose site control here. They're just about to, but now is the turning point here. Jowzera, knowing that, going to push up a little bit and try to kill the Clove. Can't quite connect. Void gets himself a pick. So does Carrots. And suddenly the Terps are in a very favorable position to win this round. And that is the first round win that the Terps have had in seemingly a very long time.
And it's good that we finally got to get it even before we ended up switching sides. I mean, I think that's the most favorable outcome you can really hope for when it comes to a map like Bind. And now that we're finally transitioning into our defenders side, I am a little worried to see how the Terps are going to go on about, you know, their defense. I mean, not saying it's not possible, but I just want to see what they have up their sleeve. I need to know, you know, what they're going to do. Are they going to push up? Are they going to be aggro to kind of scare off NYU? What are they going to do? Because that's what NYU does themselves. They kind of aggro push onto a site when they're on attacking sites. So it can either end up well or it won't end up well. So let's hope for the best.
And it's about the Terps not getting nervous here. They lost their attack side, which they were so strong on Pearl. Instead, they're kind of going to try to use their, you know, talents to their benefits here, play a little bit more aggressively on the defensive side because they know that that's what they're good at. But they have got to stop this B push that's about to ensue here for NYU. Peaches holds a really good positioning there, is only able to get himself one kill and cannot stop that spike from being planted. So it's going to have to be a 3v4 retake for the Terps. They do have a decent amount of utility, but their position is completely sold out as a result of that Fade utility. Void able to get 2 picks there, but it's not quite enough to put the Terps in a comfortable position. They just have Jowzera here with a Ghost in hand. NYU is not giving up any of their positioning, but not for long. They're going to double swing, and the first pistol round here on the defensive side goes to NYU.
And I really think that the execution when NYU first started to trickle in was good. I mean, we're positioned well. We had a nice wall going in through TP. I haven't seen that wall in a long time, and I believe it covered both Hookah and like Belong as well, and it helped us out. But it kind of fell apart after that. So what more is there to do to kind of keep your guard when it comes to, you know, heavy pushes? Because you could do so much to kind of counter it, but what about staying alive for the rest around? You know, keeping it, you know, that way, kind of keeping those picks off the charts. So hopefully we're able to do the same this time.
And wow, the Terps really taking a page out of NYU's book, holding an aggressive angle towards Belong, stopping any push as soon as they get any idea of it. They were able to down the spike, although they have not really found it in a position where they can guard it well. So NYU's gonna take the money and just run away. Peaches, though, does not want to let them get away alive, and Swirl's gonna pinch them in the process of rotating, and a bit of a sigh of relief for the Terps to just win another round.
That Ares from NYU was like such an interesting pick too, especially coming up Belong. You kind of want to be fast with it, but then Ares is just one of those guns where they're like baby Odins. Like seeing that so early in on the round says a lot. Like I'm kind of scared for how they're gonna be going on for their next few save rounds, considering that they like to shorty it up a little bit, and they're also bandit demons. Like they're actually pretty good using a bandit. So hopefully the Terps don't lose their momentum, especially with defending. You know, you don't want to peek out, especially if their buy is so little. Oh, but I guess it works out anyways.
And I think it works out because the Terps have a good buy here. Swirl's able to have an outlaw and land a really clean opening pick to really slow down NYU in their tracks, and they're defaulting for the looks of it, but they really do not have a clean site execute as it stands right now. They look a little bit spread out. They have to regroup before they decide to hit anywhere. It does look like they're favoring this B site, which could work out for them considering that is where UMD is spread a little bit thin, but UMD certainly has the gun advantage to rely on here.
Most definitely, and it's slow this time, which isn't new from NYU at all. But the Terps are playing it safe and kind of just hiding in their corners, just waiting for them to kind of push into the Terps instead.
Oh, and this Ares could be absolutely devastating. Only able to come away with the one pick there, but the damage has already been done. The Terps are in a very good position this round. Ooh, Carrots does so much damage to the last remaining NYU player. It will be Zera, though, to just finish off the last bit of HP that they had remaining.
Oh my gosh, Carrots like dinked that Omen like so well. That one was like 1 HP. Oh, it hurts to see that she didn't get the final kill, but that's okay. The assist was there, and a little bit of a blind as well. A little bit of a surprise to, yeah. But anyways, guys, hopefully we keep up the momentum. I feel like there's going to be something later on into the rounds, I want to say, when we finally reach like the 9 or like 10-ish points on each round, where we're going to start to fall apart a little bit. And this goes for either side. You know, you start to get comfortable after switching sides like a few rounds in, and that's when people kind of start to break a little bit, especially like as a team. So I want to see how we're going to be able to kind of counter that. And look at how fast we're pushing up.
So much early aggression from the Terps. They are coming out swinging on the defensive side of the map even. Does not stop them. They have managed to find themselves 2 picks early on, but they do lose Swirls, and Zera is fighting for his life there, and it's a bit of an awkward positioning to take a fight. Both sides have kind of neglected the objective of this game, which is to get on site and plant. Instead, it's looking more like a death match here on the other side of this B site. But hey, it works out for the Terps, and that's all you could ask for, really, in the end.
I like the way you said that. It's kind of like a death match, almost because what the heck are we doing all the way, like, past the little, like, shop area? Like, what are we doing there? Like, almost, like, 45 seconds to the round. Like, how the heck did we end up getting here? And I think that's what the Terps are gonna kind of stay true to, is kind of push up and get a little more aggressive, especially knowing that that NYU kind of has like no buy. coming into this round. I mean, we have a bit of a Guardian and some Stinger action, but that could only get you so far when it comes to your defender team kind of pushing up on you, getting aggressive.
Really early Viper pit placed for Peaches. I'm honestly a little bit surprised to see that pit be used so early, but, just considering the weapon advantage that the Terps seem to have built themselves here. But better safe than sorry here. So Peaches just trying to get a pick or two in this Viper pit, able to get one early on, and he has his crosshair in a really good position if he just wants to spray, and he's just causing so much damage. Eventually, the NYU is able to put a stop to the absolute carnage that Peaches was able to do there, and damage has been done. Terps have a really good numbers advantage to work in their favor here, but they have a spike to defuse.
And you could only hold out for so long inside of that Viper pit. I mean, your vision is kind of, you know, blurred almost. So I don't blame Peaches for kind of pushing up a little bit, because then, you know, they would be able to see you first. But my goodness, Terps are falling like flies.
Yeah, Void left in a 1v2 and a bomb to defuse. Less than ideal situation. I'll keep in mind the Chamber's HP is very low, so if he's able to spot the Chamber first, it looks like the timing is just not gonna work out for him. On our side of things, you know, when you see the other opponent's position, you just cringe a little bit watching. You can't help but just, you know what's about to happen there. Unlucky for Void.
Very unlucky. And I don't think any of us would have been able to guess that. That was good. I mean, stacking on top of a bunch of clove smokes, and kind of the timing was just crazy. Finally, the smoke dissipates and boom, you're out. And to know that Chamber was just one cough away from dying just feels bad, man. But that's all right. But that only means that they're starting to keep up with the economy, and we're starting to dwindle down on our economy. So that it's something we gotta kind of take into account. And seeing what's happening right now, it's so quiet. This is new. Like, I know they attempted it last round, but this is just too quiet almost.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit spookily quiet, eerily quiet, if you will, because we're used to seeing the Terps have this kind of personality of coming out punching, running down the site first, even on the defensive side of things. But they are really being patient here, and they're forcing NYU to be the one to push first, which is what attack is supposed to traditionally do. But NYU's been conditioned to wait for a swing. UMD is not going to give it to them yet.
Not at all. And I don't know, they're just slow walking it up. I mean, it's kind of first contact almost. I mean, we're throwing utility, but nobody's really making a move up until then.
Yeah, all bets are up here on this A site. It's a complete 5v5 clash here. Swirls uses the Raze ultimate, able to net himself a pick. The job is not done, though. He has a Vandal in hand, trying to get a second, not quite going to get there. Meanwhile, the rest of his teammates are having a hard time holding on to their lives. Clove going to use that ultimate for Void. Does not quite work out in his favor. Bomb is ticking. Terps have got to defuse it. Jalzera pops the defuse, is trying to draw some attackers his way, able to kind of put up a good fight, but it's only 2 Terps left alive, and it will be Carrots to do the cleanup work there on the later half of that round.
And I think that round was a little too risky for comfort almost. I mean, it could have been anybody's round, but let's not let that stop us from trying to get these last 3 rounds down, because now NYU finally, you know, has money, but we still barely have anything to scrape by. But that doesn't stop us from buying an operator, so I'm hoping Swirls is able to utilize that big purchase well, especially since we're defending. So I'm assuming maybe like a heaven, kind of heaven positioning on that A site, or is just gonna peek through showers again.
Typically, yeah, you would see that operator be positioned into a heaven, or you can satchel up to an off angle on that site. Instead, Swirls going to do something pretty risky and look towards showers with not a lot of cover and an operator in hand, and 3 players stand ahead of him. He just gets so unlucky with the timing there and loses that operator in the process. Very expensive round for the Terps. They've got to turn this around some way, somehow. They're just avoiding that Raze ultimate like the plague. It does, unfortunately, catch Carrots off guard, though. Only 2 Terps left alive, and a Chamber ultimate to work against Void. Trying to get any pick to go his way. He knows this is an uphill battle. He's trying to buy time for his teammate to help him out here. He's just trying to creep onto site, wait for a push to come his way, wait for Peaches, actually, to draw so much attention. It's not going to be enough. Void able to get 1 pick, but he has so many more to go. Even with another, it's still not looking likely for Void to win this round here, and it's very likely that NYU can just spray through the smoke and stop Void.
And unfortunately, as to be expected, did not get that round home, but that's okay. I mean, there has to be a reason as to why, you know, we decided to kind of bite the bullet and, you know, choose to go with an operator. And, you know, maybe Swirls is the only one. Oh, actually, no, it's us. Well, we're all kind of a little low when it comes to this economy, but we still have about a round or 2 of leeway. So hopefully we don't go into an OT, hopefully, and that we're able to kind of just finish this off. But I see Sparkle with a, I don't know, I can't trust Sparkle on these like scoped guns. Like, you know, they're actually pretty good at it. So I'm hoping Carrots is able to catch them a little off guard before they get too close to her.
Oh, and she's trying to be an absolute Deagle demon, but there's 4 players ahead of her, able to do a little bit of damage. Not going to be quite enough to help the Terps feel super secure here. They've got to pull a really quick rotate, and it's all 3 remaining Terps grouped together are going to have to trickle in through CT, maybe into elbow. They have a lot of work ahead of them. Jowzera using that initiator utility. It's all a distraction to help Swirls get onto site. Terps have found their way to this bomb, and this is a beautiful retake if it continues to unfold this way. Terps have a numbers advantage, but not an HP advantage. 8 HP to work with. Void narrowly cannot quite come away with a steal there, and we are yet again at a tied game.
You know, Jowzera had it. He really did. Thank you, Coach, for giving us another timeout, which rightfully so. I think now is a great time, but Jowzera had that in the bag. It's just the 3 sad bullets left inside of that little stinger that just unfortunately did not help us out. What is something new that we can pull out of our pockets this time, guys? What's the mystery mouse tool for this last few rounds? What? I really couldn't tell you what different the Terps could be doing. I feel like we've tried throughout the whole game, and I don't know. I think it's just been unlucky, no? Like...
Mystery mouse, because I'm that's gonna be part of my vocabulary from now on. That's beautiful. But like you said, it's the Terps have not really cracked the code here. They're playing each round differently. They don't have this like vibe that they've been going with. I think more often than not they're being aggressive, but like that cannot be said for every single round. Some rounds have just looked like a completely different team, you know, with both sides being super duper quiet. So it's anyone's game for the taking here. The Terps have every motive to not send this to map number 3, so they're going to have to really dig deep here, use their ultimates they have available to them, and this round is crucial because look at their economy. If they lose this round,
we're broke.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it does really seem like some of their like executions are a little out of character, and it might be because they're not confident in it, but seems to be they're confident in this one, so.
Yeah, it's a trade off rip, and it's a battle inside this clove smoke. The Terps are getting picked off quickly here. There's only Peaches left to show for it. And that is a absolutely devastating way to start off this round. That is so important. But it is not over till it's over. We have Peaches alive. He has a Phantom in hand. This is certainly doable if he plays his cards right. It's a swing for NYU. Peaches lands a beautiful 2-piece. Hunting for the 3rd. Is the Rays going to swing? Oh, just narrowly lost. Ugh, he knows. He almost had that round. And yikes. Because now the Terps economy is not going to be great.
You know, he had it like, his glasses kind of look like chamber glasses in a way.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. But, you know, feels bad, man, but don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, Peaches. It's okay. We still have time to kind of turn this around. I mean, even though we're kind of confined to a certain economy, does not matter. Dang. That Raze kind of just threw away that pistol just behind the little thing. But anyways, guys, I don't think the Terps are equipped just yet for this push. I mean, we're kind of scraping by trying to collect ult orbs and kind of get ultimates. I mean, we're almost at, what, 4 online right now? But let's play it smart. I mean, there's so much you could do on a save round. I mean, especially with, like, pistols and whatnot. But either way, play your distance.
UMD's tried to just buy anything that they can instead of going full save here. They're opting to, you know, try and make this round as favorable as possible, and they're playing it passively again. They're not going to give up any peaks, any ones yet. And look at the side of NYU, defaulting. So it's a really good play for UMD. It's a good play call to just kind of eat up time here, because we are on NYU's time. It is up to them to plant this bomb in time. So I kind of like this new play call for them.
Yeah, nicely said. It's true. I mean, if we can prevent them from getting onto site, then might as well waste their time a little bit and get some picks in the, you know, in the meantime, like Peaches just did. But you could only hold on for so long, especially since Peaches is the only one on B, and it seems that NYU's favoring more towards that.
Yeah, Peaches is going to have to really buy a lot of his time for his teammates here, and he's trying to do just that, although unfortunately gets picked off early. Void still trying to buy as much time as possible. NYU only has a couple seconds to plant this bomb. They're able to do so. Void uses that Clove ultimate, and he's got to do something with it, not quite able to do so, and it's another devastating round for UMD, and they have no more margin for error.
Just one more round before NYU is able to take home this second map on Bind. And of course the Terps got to give it all they got, but that means doing it in 2 rounds flawlessly before we can go ahead and do a little bit of a back and forth in OT. And I feel like NYU is not necessarily showing like fear that they could potentially lose, you know, this round. And I think that the Terps are, and I think that's really affecting the way we get to see them play tonight. It's not ideal at all, but they're playing safe yet again. But I don't know, I think we should have kind of given some help to Peaches a little bit on B site, knowing that they have successfully taken B site before.
All right, come on, Peaches. Start this round off well. The Terps definitely need it, and it's going to start right there with the push if it's going to be anywhere. But NYU not liking what they are sensing so far, taking it really nice and slow. Peaches has a lot of time to kind of sniff out where that utility is coming from, line up his crosshair exactly, and wait for the rest of his team to send in the reinforcements or potentially read or rotate. No, Peaches going to push up and be aggressive. He has 2 players to work against here, only able to find a pick onto one of them. Meanwhile, 2 of the Terps die on that B site. That's going to make B look very attractive for NYU. Swirls is not having any of it. Going to use that Raze ultimate. Not going to get a pick off of it. It is such an uphill battle for the Terps. Only 2 of them left alive. Make that 1 with carrots. And we will be heading into Haven for map number 3.
And that was Bind for you guys. Both teams performed just as well. We did get to see some strong suits, and we did get to see some flaws, but that's okay. It's anybody's game with this final map being on Haven, I believe.
Oh, yes,
so,
Haven, yes.
On Haven, and I hope we get to see what we saw on Pearl, is that Terps are defenders and finish it off on attackers.
So make sure you guys tune in for map number 3 after a brief commercial break.
Whether you're a new publisher or app developer, or if you've been around the block for a little while and you have your own ad ops team, Playwire is developing the solutions and products that are perfect for you.
RAMP stands for Revenue Amplification Management Platform. But really what it does, it helps you make more money per user, and it helps you simplify your business so you can just focus on what matters, which is making great content. So if you think about today's ecosystem, there's so many different pieces to run an ad tech platform.
RAMP brings the entire ad ecosystem under one umbrella. Everything from centralized ad unit creation to piping in those demand sources. We layer on a DMP, and we take care of your data privacy and consent management for you as well. We tie all of that together with robust analytics.
Playwire really offers our publishers 2 different models at this point. We've got the full service model where we come in and we cover everything. And there's now our new self-service model where you can come in and you can say, I just want Playwire to take care of some of these things for me. Another thing that we've had a lot of partners do with us in the past is say, hey, maybe I have a few of my own direct campaigns that I want to run. Or I've even got an ad ops team. I don't know whether Playwire is right for me because those people are doing a good job. We don't want to displace them in favor of Playwire. That's fine. We're happy to bring all the technology that we've put out there, but use it with your own team and with your own ad stack. What does that mean for you as a publisher? It means that you get to leverage all of the revenue maximization technology that we've got in place and still have all of the capabilities and all of the demand partners that you're used to working with. You can have your cake and you can eat it too.
We actually do things at such scale, right? We're serving 70 billion ads a month at this point. That's a huge benefit that we're passing on to the publisher.
Revenue intelligence marries human intelligence with machine intelligence. At its core, revenue intelligence is about taking all the demand that you're already getting and getting more out of it. We want to make it so that you're getting 10% more from your ad inventory without even worrying about who the advertisers are. It's based on us going in and understanding what are the places where we can put additional price pressure on. There's all sorts of situations like this where you can eke out little benefits and add them all up. You're quickly at a point where you are getting that 10, 15, 20% uplift on your revenue without having made any changes in who's actually doing the advertising.
Our DMP is built from the ground up to work in a cookieless environment and not use cookies to basically store, user behavior or anything like that. And it's built right into the RAMP platform.
We can tell advertisers information about user interests, but also user behavior, do it on a massive scale, do it in that real-time way that we also do with our revenue intelligence capabilities, and also do it in a way where we can leverage the size of our network. We're trying to do everything that we can to show you every step of the process of getting an ad onto the page. That means that we've got much richer charts and graphs, a lot more ability to look at a piece of information and drill down on it. Answer that question that maybe you didn't even know that you were asking. We're trying to make you think differently, actually, about your business, about how your business relates to advertising, and reveal all of that through the platform. So analytics are one big piece of it.
It's a constant evolution. We're constantly updating our technology. We're constantly creating the future.
It's a real challenge for publishers these days to navigate advertising technology. It seems like every 6 months there's some new challenge. And at Playwire, we make sure that we take all of that pain away from our publishers so they can focus on their core business of publishing.
Terp Adventures. Take flight at STAMP. Host to countless Maryland events, programs, performances, and more. Feed your body. Feed your mind. Feed your soul. Let your talents soar. Dance. Sing, perform, find your thing. Join more than 800 student organizations and clubs. Find community here. Leadership lives here. Art thrives here. With space to grow. We're all just kids at heart. Let your imagination fly. Compete, play, with wings on our feet. Here your spirit can fly. Here your soul lifts up. Here you remember those who came before. This is STAM. This is the Center for Campus Life, where Terp Adventures take flight. You belong here. Come fly with us.
Welcome back. We are about to head into map number 3, which is going to be Haven. And I feel like in studio, we've been a little bit getting away with getting out after 2 maps, but we are here for the long run, and it's exciting. Map 3 is always very exciting because there is no room for error for either team. Both teams have equal stake in it. So it's going to be certainly an important map on Haven, and especially if the Terps want to keep up the record that they've been having.
Most definitely. And I know we said earlier in the stream that NYU was hungry for this win, and we mean it. And so now that only means that the Terps just kind of got to lock in and get it going. I mean, look at them stretching a little bit. Kind of, you know, I'm pretty sure we're all in agent select at the moment. And I hope these picks are going to be very reminiscent of what we've seen these past 2 games. I mean, coming from both teams, I think it's going to be a little expected on what we're going to see. I still think we're going to end up seeing a Viper a little bit, but I still think we're going to be seeing at least like a Chamber and a KJ again. But other than that, I'm not quite sure of another agent repeat just yet.
Yeah, we've been consistently seeing a Chamber pick. For the side of NYU, I know UMD went with a Chamber pick on Pearl and then has not gone back to that on Bind. But I have been liking our compositions. I don't think that's been an issue for UMD. It just seems to be kind of this like rhythm we get into in the rounds of this has been just a series of runs. It has rarely been back and forth. It seems that like as soon as one team starts to pull away, that's the team that ends up winning that round, or at least winning that map, or at least a big stretch of the rounds on that map. But anyway, here we are on Haven. We do have a Chamber, kind of like we were suspecting for the side of NYU, and UMD going with a very traditional comp.
And I see a Breach there, and that person who was playing Breach played Omen last round. So I want to see, you know, how different. I'm assuming that's their flex player, so I want to see how different it's going to be. I don't think I've seen a Breach in a long time here on Haven already, but we already started it off with a bang, seeing Swirls take off on mid there going into Garage.
And the Terps going to be on the attack side of the map, which is typically their stronger side, but they have been struggling so far, losing 2 of their players really early here on Pistols. So they're trying to make C site work out for them. They have Breach utility to work against, and they're just pinched in a really uncomfortable position there on that C site and left completely up for grabs.
And I know you said a lot of these picks were very, you know, they're reminiscent almost. And, you know, these are normal picks that we've had before. But I just think it's a little, I don't know. I feel like I'm watching Pearl, but on a wrong map. Like, I hope that they don't take what they've, you know, have done in Pearl into Haven. Considering Haven is, you know, although it's just as big, I guess you would say, with the 3 sites, it's also not the same. Like, Haven is its own map, really. I know a lot of people like to say it's a little more like defender sided, but you really never know when it comes to the player comp that you're going in with.
So the Terps really trying to start this round off with a bang, and they're going to find a completely free C site. They do have to pay attention to CT with that Chamber having an Outlaw, and also they lose Peaches too. And oh no, the Outlaw causing so many issues for the Terps. They're trying to fight this though, and the numbers dwindle down to 0 in the blink of an eye. And that's 2 less than ideal rounds for the Terps in a map that they've got to win here.
Especially on the attacker's side, like I'm not sure. I just feel like I can almost sense the kind of non-confident, like the confidence that NYU has. I can kind of sense it. They don't seem to be, I don't want to say sporadic, but they seem to kind of like, you know, I feel like Haven is probably one of their strong suits and is a map that they're very comfortable on. But we can say the same for the Terps, but it's just not quite, you know, I just don't think their executions are going the way that they think they are because of how well equipped NYU is on this defender side. So either way, they're going to have to be creative and change it up a bit for these upcoming rounds, especially how early in the game we are, so they can find their flow before it's too late.
And it does look like they're changing it up a little bit. They've placed that Viper wall in a bit of a different position to try and favor this B hit or potentially trickle in through Garage. But they've got to watch out for that breach. That breach can so easily just dump so much utility into Garage and just catch the Terps completely just in a nest there and kill all of them. So Terps going to back up a little bit, maybe reconvene with Peaches to see how this A site might be looking.
Yeah, and it seems that they depend on Peaches a lot if the rest of the team decides to go, you know, kind of push onto a site or kind of explore a site a little bit, which I like to see because, you know, Peaches then gets to catch some of NYU lacking here, like this Jet, and, you know, it kind of sets them up for success. So I'm really hoping that this is something that they can take for the next few rounds.
Swirl's just trying to weasel his way onto this site. He gets caught in the crossfire. Trades come through for either side. It's a 3v3 even playing field with the Terps having site control. They've smoked off the entryways to begin with. They're getting in position to take this retake. 2 players posted up in hell. Peaches watching this heaven push that's coming through with a Guardian. It's a really good gun to play that position with. He's still holding it, trying to get a wall bang to come through there, not finding any success yet. Meanwhile, the players from hell swing out, are able to find a pick to go in their way. Time ticking down for NYU. They've got to act quickly here. The Terps are prepared to take these fights that are going to have to drop down from heaven any second now, where Peaches is waiting with a Guardian. And finally, the Terps have won their first round on Haven.
Very unlucky spot to be in on NYU. Clearly, let's not celebrate too early yet. The Terps did not get to celebrate their first round win just yet. But again, very unlucky spot to be in. It's just such an awkward position. Being in heaven, you have no choice to kind of just jump out, and everybody is just staring at you to fall, break your legs a little bit, and then fall, and automatically winning the round. And it's just not much to do. I mean, especially on the Terps end, you don't want to push out because they could also be holding from the top of the stairs as well. So it's nice to stay a little calm and collected and not not get too cocky too early in or even too late into the round.
And UMD has to be wary of the 4th round operator that is in play for NYU. I believe that Chamber has a hold of that operator and is diligently watching any sort of garage push that's cooking, but Terp's gonna kind of avoid that completely, luckily, and instead gonna place their bets on this A site where they're smoked off early. So no push too quickly. Instead, they might fall right in the trap of this operator, where Swirls narrowly escapes with his life there as the Chamber TPs back to safety, and now the Terps really have some rethinking to do here.
Swirls is almost kind of like a punching bag, almost. You know, Swirls takes a lot of damage and does do a lot of those entry, you know, plays, and it allows his team to kind of push up and kind of play around his body almost, and it really does work out. So hopefully he's able to kind of bait himself onto the C side, considering he is 20 HP and is able to get the team far. I mean, they're slowly falling behind him anyways.
And look at this C push that the Terps have been able to complete. They have set themselves up for yet another hopefully successful retake. And oh my goodness, Swirls is just hanging on to dear life right now. He's trying to avoid any op shots. There's sprays coming his way. There's so much reach utility on this site. They've got to watch out for Garage as well, with Swirls and Void and Carrots all getting picked off. And no one is there to equalize. NYU is still able to hold on to their lead here.
And even with that op, they were just able to flood in both from CT and from Garage like nothing. And unfortunately, nobody was watching Swirls' back in the process. Everybody was kind of tucked into their own corners, but to each their own. I feel like that would have been the best way to go about it that round. Coach Arjun probably says otherwise, calling for another timeout. And again, rightfully so. I think it's never too early to call out for one coming into what, round 5, almost 4?
Yeah, and I do like that this timeout is early. However, it's going to be hard to do much without a good buy in hand. So I feel like this timeout is really to put the Terps mentally back on track more than it is maybe a tactical timeout than anything, because they're not going to have the loadouts to really put up a good fight here. It's going to be an uphill battle, or they're going to have to pull up a Thrifty, maybe have a hero like rifle thrown in the mix there. But regardless, I think this is more so just a time to be like, guys, take a breath. Like, we got this.
Don't let the mental get to you. Valorant is a mental game. If your mental sucks, you're losing the game. Sorry to say it. And, you know, I don't think I mind the hero Vandal or like a hero rifle play. I just want to know who would be in charge of that. I don't want to say Swirls, because Swirls is probably going to be, you know, a little too sporadic. I think we should give Swirls like a shorty or like a frenzy for the save, or, you know, something quick. I mean, it seems like he might be bulldogging. But even still, I think having a little bit of a crutch is good for this upcoming round, because you really never know what can happen next, especially with this default almost, or like they kind of just split. And Swirls is already basically halfway into the site already.
Oh, he has got to clear that little pocket on that C site. He's trying to sniff out this Jet, but the Jet has done the tango and walked around this box on site and is still alive. The Terps cannot kill him. Finally, they're able to do so. It's too little, too late, though. Oh, wow. NYU really, really looking strong here on Haven so far.
That Jet was alive for too long. And I mean, you know, things happen, guys. Sometimes, you know, we're kind of in like a survival mode. We kind of don't look for one another's back, but you kind of look for your own, which rightfully so. I get it. But I think it's time to switch it up this time. I mean, it seems like we're favoring more towards C again and then leaving A, or a little bit of like a window push for Peaches to kind of figure out. But I don't know. I think that fast push was to kind of just get that save round out the way, but I'm not quite sure what the Terps were expecting to push that way with barely any guns.
They're gonna try their luck C again, and the Jet is there. This time will be a different story if Swirls maybe able to kill this Jet. Yes, it's gonna be a lot quicker than in the round past, but will the outcome be the same is the question. They, instead of pushing up aggressively into CT, are going to smoke it and force NYU to push. They are also going to use that KJ ultimate to buy them even more time, because they have found themselves in a bit of a deficit here. They really can't let NYU win too many more rounds. Although, look at Peach's positioning. This could be huge for the Terps if they're patient enough to wait for Peaches to pull off that flank. In the meantime, you don't want to see players like Jowzera die there. But Peaches has come just in time. He's got to run through that smoke. Time is dwindling down. He has carrots to kind of put up a good distraction through long, and he can just swing and just whiffs, unfortunately. And that does not even cost them the round. Luckily, because of the spike, he's able to put up a good distraction. So maybe that was the plan all along.
And you know what? even Swirls himself is gagged. Like, trust me, we are all gagged here in the studio, but the Terps are just like that. That's the whole plan all along. And you know what? It's the thought that counts. Technically, we got that round to take home, but no more funny business, guys. Let's finally lock it in. I know we're just barely scraping by with such little economy we have left for this half, but I'm tired of seeing C, guys. I do want to see a little more of a mid to something action, mid to A or something, and we have an Odin. Goodness.
Yeah, that is certainly going to throw a wrench in the plans of UMD. So will this smoke, which I feel like has not been placed C long early, or if it has, the Terps have just charged through it. But they're going to just continue to work their way through the C site. Jowzera pulled off a really clean early pick, and that's going to be completely necessary for UMD to try the C site for the third time in a row. Will it end differently? They're hoping for a different result. They did win the last round, but it wasn't clean. So they're hoping to just find those picks, have a satisfying round, get their momentum going, and hopefully come back from this deficit. But for now, bit of a calm before the storm. Spike is still taking. UMD is happy to keep it that way. There is going to be most of this retake effort through CT, but they've got to watch out for this one player into Garage who's doing a lot of damage with the 3K on the Terps. Void, though, with 3K of his own. Omen v Omen, and Void will be the Omen diff for that round and just narrowly help the Terps close in on this margin.
And that is how you get dominance. I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure that Jet was kind of just shivering their timbers, just holding an Odin, and kind of, I think they smoked to kind of try and hide the potential Sova Dart, but little do they know we have a different Sova Dart lineup for that one. That one's a little expected. And Swirls, I want to say Swirls kind of showed his dominance. I mean, hearing that Neon ult call is just not for the weak, and it kind of scared that Jet off in a way. So either way, let's try to test our luck again onto the C site and see how differently we're going to take it now that that Jet isn't here and it's an Omen instead.
Expensive round for NYU in terms of the ultimates, but hold up. UMD, although looking like they wanted to hit the C site, are not really following through on that action, and they're paying for it, losing Jalzira in the process. And now the Terps are kind of more spread out than they've ever looked before on this map. Peaches trying to get a lurking pick, does so easily on that B site and just backs up happily. But is he going to fall into this trap of trying to push into Garage where this chamber is waiting for an ultimate? Looks like hopefully no Terps are going to quite go that way. Instead, they're going to flood A long where Carrots is able to get a pick with the help of Swirls. Void down to 1 HP there, but still has a lot of smokes to work with, one of which the Jet is playing in and has their knives available to try and kill the Terps. What a clean kill on Carrots, though. And NYU pulled off an absolutely insane retake.
And to think to have that much momentum that far into the round says a lot. I mean, they were prepared for that retake even. And that Jet was pulling out things that most Valorant players nowadays would not have done. And I just think it was a little unlucky there for Void to kind of just get picked off in his own smoke. I mean, 1 HP in a dream can only take you so far, but that Jet was just so like out there. I mean, like, that's like old school like Jet movement stuff that I have not seen in a long time, and that's something that the Terps kind of have to watch out for. And we finally get to see a little bit of this breach action in use, but the Terps are like in a line here, kind of linked to the arms in a way.
And they're trying to get an opening pick on the Sova. They do so, and they're just going to try and overwhelm anyone on the site, which is going to be the breach. Swirls lands a really, really clean deagle shot and is able to pick up a Vandal and reposition into Hell, where he's getting pushed by the Jet. The Jet is on site. Jalzira puts a stop to it. Bomb is down for the Terps. Viper Pit invested. Really crucial round here. Peaches still coming in huge with those picks. Only dwindles it down to 1 NYU player remaining, and the Terps are still in the fight here.
They're very back and forth all night. Both NYU and the Terps have been just back and forth with their rounds, and that just only means how, I guess, how well of a team they both are. I mean, you're able to adapt to one another's gameplay, but sometimes somebody has to take it home for the win. Let's talk about this scoreboard for a quick minute. That Omen there, 14-5, kind of leading everybody along the way, while the rest of our Terps are kind of even with one another, I feel like. And I think that says a lot. I feel like we have to kind of win our fights almost. I mean, it kind of shows that we're working as a team. But unfortunately in Valorant, it really matters on how many picks you're able to get in order to kind of help plan for the end of the round.
UMD sitting grass. I think Garage has been a tricky spot for the Terps because there's been some operators posted up there. This time they try and duo swing and it works out beautifully, although the operator, speak of the devil, is still in play. Swirls absolutely dominating on this C site in style on the Neon. Gonna help Jalzira plant that bomb, and still operator in play. Gonna try and hunt down Swirls. Swirls is being very, very brave. I would be terrified, but Swirls is confident. But the operator might pose issues for the Terps later in this round.
But this operator is kind of positioned in a way where the Terps kind of have to walk into that crosshair, and I hope that's not the case, but it unfortunately was.
UMD still trying to keep this bomb ticking. Jalzira lands a really clean two-piece in CT. Peaches takes care of Garage, and that will do it to put us at an even scoreline for what feels like appreciably like the first meaningful time here.
And I hope this doesn't end up being in another back and forth thing where NYU kind of gets a few rounds and then the Terps end up catching up later on, or vice versa, because I feel like it's not about catching up, but more so of kind of just getting meaningful rounds. And I hope that the Terps just don't get unlucky in a way. I mean, we finally kind of get some momentum here now that NYU is a little broke in a sense, but that does not mean that they don't know how to utilize their guns, especially since how quick they're moving up onto mid here, trying to get onto our Terps that are just walking out into CZ.
And they have got to watch out right behind them where NYU is knocking on the door. They seem to have some idea of that NYU is playing a really aggressive position here. They've got to clear these angles really diligently. Swirls falls victim to a deagle shot early on. Spike down for the Terps. 3 Terps left alive, but Void is putting in the work. Still, the Terps do not have bomb control, and they have potentially 2 really dangerous post-plant ultimates to work against. It's going to become increasingly harder with Void getting picked off, and Carrots too could not quite catch sight of that bomb. It's all up to Peaches, who's down in a 1v1, still does not have bomb control, is going to be forced to get in, take an early fight here, and Peaches pulls off a much needed clutch.
Now everybody can take a deep breath, and hopefully we were able to get one more round before we finally actually get to switch back into our less dominant side, which is the defending side. And with that, you really want to get as many rounds as you can, especially on a side that you favor more. That way you don't necessarily have to worry about it on the next half. So with that being said, both teams are coming into this last round swap with pretty heavy artillery. We do get to see that op yet again, and that's something the Terps need to be wary about. So I hope Swirls does not get picked off in the process of him trying to just create space for his team. I mean, sometimes he does seem to be a little too fast for the rest of the team, but still he helps out a lot.
An early trade there to start off this last round of the Terps attack half. Does look like they're going to fall back and help support Peaches and kind of the cause that he has started to cook up here on this A side, where the operator is waiting patiently, and that is something that the Terps have to deal with sooner rather than later. Swirls throws a really nice and effective stun to completely push the chamber off site, although he does lose his life in the process. And finally, the operator really does cause an issue for UMD. So will that Sova ultimate. So we are going to be at 6 apiece here heading into the Terps defensive side.
And, you know, I haven't seen Academy play Haven before, let alone have I seen them. You know, we rarely get to see them in the studio like we were talking about earlier, and I want to see what they have to offer this time. I'm sure this might be a little more their style. I mean, we have really good agents here. I want to see these KJ setups on C. I feel like that's something we didn't necessarily get to see on NYU. I mean, you could only do so much with like a bunch of chamber trips and like, you know, whatnot. But we actually have a solidified setup here, and I hope that kind of confuses NYU or kind of takes them aback a little bit, maybe even fearing C a little bit, so it kind of confines them to seeing like a little bit of a B or A push. But what I noticed is that nobody shows love to B. What's wrong with B site? So maybe we get to see that a little bit here.
That is a good point. We haven't seen anyone take advantage of the B site. Will NYU flip the script with that? And Swirls has found himself in a really sneaky corner. He has a good position to get a couple kills, can only find one in the process. Meanwhile, Peach is matching the aggression that Swirls was putting up. So is Carrots. So off rip here, UMD is off to a really good start because of the aggression that they've been able to have, and Void speaks volumes to that effect as well.
And I think that might just be the strat here, being more aggressive. And we've seen the Terps try and be aggressive on these defender sides, and you know, sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but maybe this time it might just work out. Maybe it's just because it's the first few pistol rounds and, you know, first few light buys. But later on, this can really benefit them once they finally, you know, get some heavy artillery going on.
And it is going to be a matter of which team kind of goes on a run here. And I think a big part of that is what weapons you have available to you. And what affects that is how many rounds you're winning in the early stages of the half switch. So Carrots not liking that early engagement from the chamber, takes a lot of HP damage and is forced to play passively for the rest of the round as a result. Speaking of passive, NYU not super duper eager to just run blindly into some crosshairs where Swirls is really set up to take a favorable fight if a mid push does come through. And I like this patience. I feel like we've been missing it a little bit for UMD. So really clean way to start off this round.
Yeah, I really hope that they do end up deciding and going into mid, right into Swirl's crosshair, but you could only hope so much. I mean, guys, we are one box away from NYU. Like, Carrots is so close to that Jet right now, and I don't think either of them know that, and that's so frustrating because it's so quiet. You want the action. You want to hurry up and get it going with, especially 35 seconds on the clock. Mind you, they have to get it going so they can go ahead and stick that plan. So let's see how this fast execution ends up, and it looks like it might be in the favor of NYU so far.
Oh, and that's a pick that, you know, Void needs to get there, and he knows it. And it's frustrating because now his team is just on the wrong side of a smoke, and they have a bomb to defuse, and a couple of the Terps have taken a decent HP hit, so definitely a tall task ahead of them. They have somewhat of a buy. Swirl's working with a really long-range weapon, just trying to throw a stun, any piece of utility to help his teammates out. But Peaches gets a 2-piece up from heaven, make that a 3-piece, and a 4th. Oh my goodness, Peaches being a Deagle demon to just help the Terps in a round that looked really unfavorable in the start of things.
Maybe the chamber glasses are giving him a buff. I mean, a right click with the pistol to end it off says a lot. That was just him styling on NYU, and we really needed these first few rounds. But guys, let's not celebrate too early just yet. Although we are up by 2, our economy is a little shoddy since we do have to bonus already, which again is not an issue if we can still kind of work around it almost, especially now that NYU finally has some heavy guns to work with. We're gonna have to expect a little more aggro movement here.
A bit of a default from NYU and Void. Yeah, again, not quite able to kill that Jet. Terps have been able to manage in the last couple of rounds. Will he be able to do so again? It looks like Carrots is also getting caught off guard by that Jet. Will Swirls put a stop to things? Yes, with an outlaw in hand. And now that's enough to really slow down NYU. But UMD really spread out across the map, and they are going to have to try and regroup towards this C site where it looks like Swirls can just run to with his neon utility. But look at Jowzera with the judge able to down Spike. They do lose Peaches though, but Jowzera still has a really good opportunity with the shotgun in hand and cannot quite land a second pick. But Swirls with a Phantom able to dwindle things down to a 1v1, slides for the 4K, and Swirls has an absolutely beautiful round where the Terps need it the most.
Everybody is just celebrating and hooting and hollering in this studio, but this is something we wanted to see. Look at that replay, already kind of just throwing stuns both ways to just prevent that Soba from going into either way, and it just worked out flawlessly. We finally get to see that neon action that we saw in Pearl that, you know, just 2 maps ago. And, you know, I hope that this shows how aggressive they're going to be coming onto these next few rounds, especially since, you know, there's not much that NYU has to offer coming into their designated bye round.
Every round from here on out is going to have to be nearly perfect from NYU. Terps knocking on the door of 10 round wins, so NYU has an uphill battle to fight, and this is where the Terps want to be, and they're not going to play like switch up their play call too much. Going to continue to be passive, not give up those 1v1 swings. Instead, they're really going to force NYU to play on their own time here because it's them who have the time pressure.
And it's true. I mean, it's just slow and steady wins the race, and they have to be very strategic about this. I mean, they know that UMD is on a roll, and they know that they don't have as many, you know, as much guns to offer, but this can still be anyone's game if NYU is able to play their cards right, and that's what they're trying to do right now. And I hope UMD stays planted and doesn't get too antsy, because they're very capable of staying planted. It's just sometimes it catches us out of off guard almost from NYU here.
30 seconds left.
And a good smoke from Void, good intuition there about that player hanging out in A long, but it's going to be a complete double back towards the C site where the Terps have had a lot of success so far, just holding off any sort of a push, that effort that NYU's trying to put up there. It's not going to be quite enough to hold them off of site completely. They should be able to down spike here, but the Terps have enough of a numbers advantage that they should feel really good about this retake. Most of them are going to retake from CT. They're absolutely overwhelming this CT area and could just clean up the remaining players on site. They have to be wary of this Jett's positioning, and although they do lose Void, Carrots is there for some extra security. So really important couple rounds for the UMD so far, and they are only 3 away from taking the series home.
If I were NYU, I think I'd call for a bit of a timeout. I don't think we've seen a timeout from NYU at all yet. And, you know, obviously that just shows their confidence, but I feel like now would be the time. I mean, although 3 is still only a few rounds away, it's still very possible that the Terps could just keep this snowball effect on a roll. And you know, that only means that NYU just has it out for them, and they have to be smart with these next few rounds because they are still barely scraping by. The Terps are just going through it like nothing.
Man, look at that mid aggression from UMD. They're in a really good position to flank if that was going to be an A execute. Instead, it's going to be a little bit more messy. They're going to have to find one. Swirls whiffs just a little bit, but it's an even playing field for a piece. Jett knives are out for NYU. They are going to position them towards the A site where Carrots is really the only person for UMD in a somewhat position to find a pick or two, but instead she's just going to have to wait for the reinforcements to flood in and also probably wait for these smokes to dissipate here on this A site. Now, UMD has good loadouts to take this retake fight, but how they use their utility and play together is the question. Jauzera is going to go in guns blazing. He does get traded Void there to equalize things, and he's forced to push through a smoke, take an unfavorable fight. Carrots, hello, drops down from heaven, and suddenly we're in a 1v1. Void on site taps the bomb and is sticking the defuse, is forced to get off of it, wait for the chamber to push out. No, the chamber's gonna wait to hear another tap. Void has to kill this chamber, does so, and he does have enough time to defuse that bomb. Beautiful play from Void.
And that was like milliseconds of that bomb before it went away, and that's timing, that's patience, like that's wow. And Carrots, did she not break her ankles on the way down? Coming in, like what? An angel fell from heaven, quite literally, and was there to save the day. And guys, it's only 2 rounds left, and I think NYU's starting to give up almost. You know, I was kind of worried for that round for a second because that Jett is actually very good with their Jett knives, but now it's just kind of at like a, I don't know, it's awkward now. I mean, they're just recycling what they've been doing these past few rounds. Swirl, stop moving! And, you know, yeah.
He has no plans to stop moving. Neither does Void with a clean 3-piece. And this is a devastating round for NYU because they have invested so much into this round in terms of their economy. They're going to be so broke heading into the next round if it is indeed a round loss for them. So absolutely crucial round. There's no better way that the Terps could have started that round off. They have bomb control. They're smoking it off. Really going to be difficult for this chamber to do much of anything.
And that's the risk Squirrels was clearly trying to take, and it worked out flawlessly. And that's something you'd love to see. Peaches, my goodness, getting that pick from all the way in sewers, I think. Was that? Either way, it's match point, guys, and I'm going to call it. I think the Terps are taking it home tonight.
Yeah, they would have to fumble tremendously in order to lose this series here. They have 4 ultimates at their disposal, which should certainly help their cause as well.
And it seems a little strategic, too. I mean, as much as NYU does have 3 online as well, we have a lot. And I think Swirls is going to have to pop that Neon ult soon. But NYU just needs to change it up. I mean, it's just been confident A pushes, and they haven't worked out as they have been the beginning of the round.
Good opening pick from Void. I'm actually surprised we didn't see Swirls use that Neon ultimate earlier there. But it's kind of, Void has done what he needed to do, slow down NYU, allow UMD to reposition here. They have really good coverage everywhere. This is a great spot to be in.
And I really think it's because we need our players. So maybe the team was kind of just like, hey, Swirls, maybe just kind of slow it down, give it to Void, and then see what happens next. Wait for them to actually execute. Because now NYU is changing their mind and is kind of going for a C garage push almost.
Yeah, Jowzera's patiently waiting, and it's all a ruse because Void just sneaks in from a window there. And the Terps have kind of been silent but deadly. Peaches follows suit. Finally, we do see the Neon ultimate for Swirls. Time is of the essence for NYU. 30 seconds left. They are able to kill Peaches. They've got to make this C site work if they want to keep their hopes of winning this series alive. Void's not having any of it. He's having a great round, and the Terps are just going to completely overwhelm the Chamber to win this series in 3. What a good job from UMD.
And we indeed took it home without breaking a sweat, dare I say. The Terps most definitely finally got to pick up their momentum. Everybody's just ready to leave the studio. What a hard 3 maps we fought through, and it was ultimately well-deserved here for our Terps Co-Ed Academy team.
Yes, thank you all so much for tuning in. Before we head off the air, we have to thank our sponsors. Thank you to the Philip Merrill College of Journalism. Wow. We would also like to thank Reckwell and last but not least, Playwire. So thanks so much to our sponsors, and thanks for you all for tuning in tonight. Make sure you tune in next week for some more Terps VAL. See you then.